Warning, if you were traumatized or affected by the events of 9/11, watching or listening to today's episode may not be in your best interest. Proceed with caution. BrainStorming! Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to BrainStorming episode 13?
Something. Episode
14?
something.
Something. I don't know, man.
I don't even know where we're at.
We're focused on 11 right now.
Yeah, 11's the number of the day. How crazy would it be if this was episode 11?
Yes, we are. So it's going to be a little bit of a, kind of a, more of a somber episode, I guess, but we got a lot to pack in, so I think we need to just roll right into it.
As Nick mentioned a second ago.
Let the thunder roll.
As Nick mentioned a second ago, some of the rabbit holes we go down today are going to possibly offend some people to an extent that you may not want to watch this if you're one of those people.
Also, anybody listening
on video.
Anybody listening today, well, it's still going to be a video. It's always a video. Well. Anybody listening today, also please know that many of the things we share today, just because we share them, does not mean that we fully endorse and believe in these theories or these things. Some of the things we present are going to be completely 100% factual, but does not mean that we are endorsing any particular conspiracy theory or any particular perspective of events. We're only giving what we have been able to uncover through research.
Well, I'm Brian McFadden.
I'm Nick Tesla.
And there's a battle on for your brain.
So let your brain evolve. And I think if you listen to today's show through and through, the whole thing, your brain will have evolved a little bit. Will have evolved. Don't get emotional. We're going to leave emotion out of this episode today. There's no emotion involved in this here discussion today, because there's enough emotion already involved with the discussion itself. So we don't need any of our extra emotion being pulled into the situation. So I guess without further ado, Brian, would you like to start ripping into the topic?
Let's do it here. We remember back in the 90s when Bill Clinton was in the White House. He's most remembered for getting a blowjob from a secretary.
Yes.
But one thing I remember him for is declassifying the Operation Northwoods document.
Yeah, see, the only thing I remember is him getting a blowjob, and now I know all this other stuff about Clinton, and it blows my mind, but the only thing I remembered back then was him getting a blowjob. For some reason, we're programmed or brainwashed to only think of that. But this is kind of important, very important thing that he declassified. So go on, Brian.
Well, at the time, it was a top secret document from the Joint Chiefs of Staff to the Secretary of Defense. And President Kennedy ended up shooting it down, by the way. I'll put that out there right now. He did not go with this plan at the time. It got back-shelved and forgotten. I think they found it in a printer that somebody bought.
Also another president who more than likely got a few blowjobs while in office. Just to throw that out there.
The now unclassified document. Thank you, President Clinton, for making this public.
Thank you, JFK, for shooting it down in the first place.
For not using it in the first place, yes.
Yeah.
March 13th, 1962, Memorandum for the Secretary of Defense. Subject, justification for U.S. military intervention in Cuba. Similar to how presidents want to invade a country and they'll stage an event to justify Bush Iraq.
yeah. It's really cool, but I know what you're saying.
In the Kennedy years, in 1962, the U.S. military really wanted to invade Cuba.
Yep.
Or it could have been the bankers that wanted us to invade Cuba. Whoever, for whatever reason, we were trying to invade Cuba and take out Castro at the time, according to the document. Well,
this is where it gets crazy, folks.
This is, at the time, the public would not have supported an invasion of Cuba in any freaking way whatsoever.
Yeah. It's kind of asinine, really, when you think about it, but go ahead.
Well, as we scroll through, page 2, top secret JCS 1969/321, March 12, 1962. Copy number 1, special distribution. Note by the secretaries to the Joint Chiefs of Staff on Northwoods, which is the name of the document. Operation Northwoods, ladies and gentlemen. A report on the above subject is submitted for consideration by the Joint Chiefs of Staff, signed F.J. Blauen and M.J. Ingolito, Joint Secretariat.
Okay.
Not reproduced herewith on file Joint Secretariat. I'm just reading all the wonderful things because for some reason this is making me scroll down and click and shit. It doesn't usually do that.
Spaghetti-o.
Anyway, trying to get through. I know page 11 is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
So I'm just going to skip ahead to page 11.
Okay. So if anybody's really interested out there, Operation Northwood's unclassified document. Well, you can, anybody who's like, why are they skipping 10 pages? What are you not telling us? We're not keeping anything from you. This is an unclassified document. If you really want to read those 10 pages,
you can Google Operation Northwood's full text.
Yep, unclassified documents.
You'll find it straight on
now,
the
is there a
National
lot of
Archives.
I've never actually looked at Operation Northwoods. That might be surprising.
Please pull it up.
But what do you call it now? I choose not to pull up unclassified military documents on my computers. But that's my own personal choice. I don't ask anybody else to do the same. It's only my choice.
It's been public for 20 years.
Oh, I know. I choose not to do that. I feel there's I feel that's not necessary. If I wanted to do that, hence why I've not looked at it. If I wanted to do that, I'd go to the library and probably pull those up. But
oh wait, you know what? You have it. Where's the book? Jesse Ventura, 63 documents.
I don't know, dude. My shit's a little jumbled right now. So if it's not in sight, then it ain't right. No, I don't know, dude. Honestly, I don't know where that book's at right now. But only thing I was gonna ask you, I don't need to have it in front of me because it's only gonna freak me out right now, especially with what we're talking about. What do you call it? What I wanted to ask you is it highly redacted or no? No.
Not one bit.
Not one bit.
Or well, no. There's one or two lines in some places.
Very slight redactions. Okay.
Very few.
That's all I wanted to know.
Like 1%.
I'm trying to come at this as if almost as if one of our spectators who's like asking questions, sitting on their couch watching this shit on YouTube and asking questions like, wait,
and
how much of it's redacted? You know what I'm saying? Like
now, basically, I'm on page 10 right now of a 15-page document.
Okay.
And all I really skipped is a bunch of names of the Joint Chiefs, the Secretary's memo to who.
Yeah, we've already stated we don't name
Here
names.
is the general basis. They wanted to invade Cuba.
Elaine Bennis.
The people wouldn't support invading Cuba. So they wanted to create a reason for the people to get behind an invasion of Cuba.
Exactly. Some sort of event, some sort of disaster, whatever you want to call it, some sort of an attack. You may not see my air quotes out there.
Yes, this is the military, remember?
Exactly.
We're talking the President's Circle, the Joint Chiefs and whatnot.
Yep.
So, this begins, page 10, Annex to Appendix to Enclosure A, Pretexts to Justify U.S. Military Intervention in Cuba.
Okay.
Note, the courses of action which follow are a preliminary submission suitable for planning purposes. They're arranged neither chronologically nor in ascending order. Together with similar inputs from other agencies, they are intended to provide a point of departure for the development of a single integrated time-phased plan. Such a plan would permit the evaluation of individual projects within the context of cumulative, correlated actions designed to lead inexorably to the objective of adequate justification for U.S. military intervention in Cuba. Basically saying, we have no reason right now, but we need to create one.
Okay.
And then, as we scroll down a bit, it'll be anybody who has it pulled up on PDF or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be halfway down that page. We're going past number 1, which... Oh, actually, no, here, number 1 gets interesting. Since it would seem desirable to use legitimate provocation as the basis for U.S. military intervention in Cuba, a cover and deception plan to include requisite preliminary actions such as been developed in response to Task 33C could be executed as an initial effort to provoke Cuban reactions. Harassments plus deceptive actions to convince the Cubans of imminent invasion would be emphasized. Our military posture throughout execution of the plan will allow a rapid change from exercise to intervention if Cuban response justifies.
Oh my God!
So they're saying we want to provoke them.
But you know what it sounds like right now? It sounds like the United States and Russia, where they're like, all right, well, we'll have these war games, and if you provoke us, we're ready to go. You see, we're ready to go. And it's like, that's what I'm hearing right now. That's crazy, dude. All right, but it's also like the ramp up in 1999. The Middle East is ramping up with terrorism, and it's like, we got to do something about this. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
All right.
America!
Oh my God!
Fuck yeah!
Oh, Brian, you see, this is gonna be a scary episode.
Part 2, same page.
We should have like the Halloween music playing in the background. Ding dong, ding 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 ding.
Part 2, same page.
Okay.
A series of well-coordinated incidents will be planned to take place in and around Guantanamo to give genuine appearance of being done by hostile Cuban forces.
Okay. So we still had Guantanamo back then?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
But what that says, I'll read that again, Nick. What does this say to you?
A
series of well-coordinated incidents will be planned to take place in and around Guantanamo to give genuine appearance of being done by hostile Cuban forces.
Yeah. That sounds like...
false flag.
Yeah.
It's a plan to carry out a false flag.
Yep.
Now
It really makes you think, you know? It makes you think about a lot of different scenarios that we've seen in the past 50, 60 years since Operation Northwoods. All these different scenarios. It's like, has there been government involvement? And it's like, we think it's a terrorist on us, but it was like the government was involved the whole time. And you hear about Timothy McVeigh and how he may have been assisted by an FBI agent. And it's like,
keep hearing he was MK Ultra.
Well, hold on. You remember the guy who, what do you call it, was getting ready to bomb underneath of the World Trade Center? Do you remember that guy?
The failed attack?
Guy, yeah, the failed attack.
Yeah.
But he
parked in the wrong place?
No, but the guy came out like publicly, or his lawyer, came out publicly and released these tapes of him talking to FBI agents where he was saying he thought it was just like it was all fake and he was going to be doing fake stuff, and they were telling him to use real stuff, and he's like, I thought this was going to be fake. I'm not using real stuff. No, don't make me use real stuff. And there was like an FBI agent on the phone saying, no, you got to use the real stuff. You know what I'm saying? And FBI tried to play it off like, well, how are we going to catch somebody if they don't actually use real stuff? And it's like, something doesn't seem right there.
No.
You're trying to set him up and actually give him the real stuff to actually do the terroristic act.
Yeah.
Well, what's the actual long planned game there? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on here?
Probably similar.
Or the long game plan. I said long planned game.
Well, it's probably similar to 2001 when Bush wanted to go into Iraq, and nobody wanted to go into Iraq again. And all of a sudden, after September 11th,
and then you're talking about Cuba.
How many people after September 11th enlisted because they suddenly wanted to go fight these guys?
Cubans attacked Guantanamo Bay, would we not be like, proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. Let's go kill some fucking Cubans, motherfucker. Let's go steal their fucking cigars.
Right.
Instead of let's go steal their oil, let's go steal their cigars. And like Kennedy was like kind of smart, like I guess, I don't know, maybe he was a smart businessman. He was a smart man and was like, we don't want their fucking cigars. What has Cuba got that we want?
Well, 62, remember, Cuba was kind of allied with Russia. So
yeah, you're right. Honestly,
we really that would have, if we had Cuba at the time, that would have been very strategic.
Yeah, you're right.
So Russia wouldn't be right off our shores doing war games and shit.
Yeah, you're right.
In the Cold War.
I didn't even factor that in. I was just saying. Thank you, bro. Sorry.
Anyway, we're still in page 10. We're in page 10.
I think you just got done part 2, or
it goes down to subsection A after that.
Okay, go ahead.
Incidents to establish a credible attack. 1. Start rumors, parentheses many. Use clandestine radio.
Okay.
2. Land friendly Cubans in uniforms over the fence, in quotations, to stage attack on base. We have a phone call, ladies and gentlemen.
No, phone call is good. No phone call.
Number 3 is capture Cuban, parentheses friendly, saboteurs inside the base.
Okay.
4. Start riots near the base main gate, parentheses, friendly Cubans. 5. Blow up ammunition inside the base, start fires. 6. Burn aircraft on airbase, parentheses, sabotage.
Oof.
7. Lob mortar shells from outside of base into base. Some damage to installations. 8. Capture assault teams approaching from the sea or vicinity of Guantanamo City.
Okay.
9. Capture militia group which storms the base. 10. Sabotage ship in harbor. Large fires. Naphthalene. I guess that's a chemical that burns.
Oh, yeah, that's crazy. It sounds like VMP naphtha mixed with toluene, which is probably like a very flammable. Obviously toluene and VMP naphtha are two solvents, so put together they could be pretty flammable, and I can imagine that being used for something.
Number 11. Sink ship near harbor entrance. Conduct funerals for mock victims. Parentheses. May be in lieu of sub-parentheses 10.
Okay.
Then it goes to B.
Okay.
United States would respond by executing offensive operations to secure water and power supplies, destroying artillery and mortar emplacements which threaten the base. Isn't that kind of like how we suddenly went into Iraq and just started bombing them?
Mm-hmm.
C. Commence large-scale United States military operations. Now it goes to 3. A. Remember the main incident could be arranged in several forms. This is where it gets scary. A. We could blow up a U.S. ship in Guantanamo Bay and blame Cuba. It flat out says that.
Wow.
B. We could blow up a drone vessel anywhere in Cuban waters. We could arrange to cause such incident in the vicinity of Havana or Santiago as a spectacular result of Cuban attack from the air or sea or both.
Okay.
The presence of Cuban planes or ships merely investigating the intent of the vessel could be fairly compelling evidence that the ship was taken under attack. The nearness to Havana or Santiago would add credibility, especially to those people that might have heard the blast or have seen the fire. The U.S. could follow up with an air/sea rescue operation covered by U.S. fighters to, quote, evacuate, end quote, remaining members of the non-existent crew. Casualty lists in U.S. newspapers would cause a helpful wave of national indignation.
Oh my god, I can't believe that, dude.
Sounds like 9/11.
No,
so
you know what I'm thinking of now? I'm thinking of fucking Bin Laden when we got him. Fucking, they killed Bin Laden and fucking, for some reason we dumped his body into the sea. What? For some reason you dumped his body into the sea? What the fuck are you talking about? Hold up. But we all just kind of swept that part under the rug, and it was this big, like, SEAL Team 6, they're the heroes, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, hold on.
Who do you think got murdered in the Benghazi attack?
But
that was SEAL Team 6.
Not right about this whole entire thing. You do not dump the most wanted man in the world's body into the ocean out of respect for his religion. Well, if you have respect for his religion, you wouldn't be over there killing the people of his religion. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, it's something does not fucking add up there.
Yeah.
And it's obviously like this whole little game, like, ploy that they played out, and they just, like, they held on to it for so long. It was like, yo, if we wait any longer, people are just gonna, like, laugh at us fucking trying to say we got them. They're gonna be like, really? Come on, it's been 12 years or whatever, 13, 14, 15 years. Are you kidding me? It took you this long to get them? Like, yeah, if they could get it within a 10-year span.
It was within a 10-year span.
Exactly. It was like almost exactly 10 years, right? It was like, all right, we got them. Good shit. Took a while, but we got them. Whereas if it took any longer, people are going to be like, something fucking fishy here. Come on, really? 15 years? Are you kidding me? Like, something's off here. Something's really off here. You know?
Well,
right,
4.
Sorry.
No, that was good. I like that. We could develop a communist Cuban terror campaign in the Miami area, in other Florida cities, and even in Washington. The terror campaign could be pointed at Cuban refugees seeking haven in the United States. We could sink a boatload of Cubans en route to Florida, real or simulated, in parentheses. We could foster attempts on lives of Cuban refugees in the United States, even to the extent of wounding in instances to be widely publicized.
Oh, man.
Exploding a few plastic bombs in carefully chosen spots, the arrest of Cuban agents, and the release of prepared documents substantiating Cuban involvement also would be helpful in projecting the idea of an irresponsible government.
You're right. 9/11 was like Northwoods 2.0.
Right?
Seriously, it was all just like I hate to say it was all just a plan, but it's like it really, when you hear Northwoods and you really read Northwoods like we're doing here, you can't help but think, was 9/11, like, is there a paper out there exactly like this, but with Afghanistan, Osama bin Laden, Iraq, all those fucking names and fucking,
I'm
just
sure.
replacing Cuba and Castro and all that,
I'm
you know what
sure.
I'm saying? It's a little more, probably be a little more complex.
Yeah.
It's probably a 35-page document instead of a
Right.
15-page document, but still, they can wrap it all up in a little pamphlet, you know?
Well, I'm sure if they had chosen to go with any of these, they would probably draw up, specific plans to go with each.
Yeah, yeah. But just think about a little laminated card with all, what do you call it? With all the highlighted points inside of that, but the Northwoods 2.0 for the 9/11 event.
It might be more like... It
all
might
the
not
military
even be,
leaders have their little laminated card, like what they need to go to. What's the, what do you call it? You're not in Iraq to fucking actually give them freedom. You're in Iraq to terrorize the people and to fucking, and to really just like fuck that country over and set up business interests for the United States. That's all you're there to do. You know what I'm saying? It's like a soldier, a foot soldier doesn't know that. Even a fucking squadron leader doesn't know that shit. But a fucking military commander's got that shit in his back pocket, and he's like, oh, all right, that's the real objective here. You know what I'm saying?
on one of the pages that were higher up that we skipped...
You do good, you can come back and be the leader of the CIA if you
Right. No, one of the pages that we skipped in the beginning
Huh.
was, it had on it, do not disseminate this information. It flat out said, don't tell the squad leaders. Don't.
So
tell.
how much stuff is still out there? Like, I'm not just talking about in relation to 9/11, that included, but with other things, how much stuff is still out there, still classified, and we don't know.
I'm sure there's
this was all just like a propaganda ploy, political propaganda ploy.
Ready for number 7?
Peace Square.
We're going to skip a few that basically have to do with provoking harassment to return fire.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to skip down to number 7 on page 13, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, you can already tell what this
along.
one's going to be. It's on page 13.
Hijacking attempts against civil, air, and surface craft should appear to continue as harassing measures condoned by the government of Cuba.
No, think about this,
Concurrently,
Brian.
genuine defections of Cuban civil and military air and surface craft should be encouraged.
That's page 13, right?
Yes.
That's number 7, right?
Yes.
Put 13 and 7 together. What do you get?
20.
Put 9 and 11 together. What do you get?
20.
Just fucking, come on, people. I'm not a number theory fucking nut, but that just came to me like almost right away.
Holy shit,
like,
dude.
That's some crazy shit. Like,
That
I
is
knew
some
as soon as
crazy
you said that, I was like, 13, which is a fucking kind of special number when it comes to numbers, and 7, which is kind of a special number when it comes to numbers. I know exactly what that's fucking about to be. I haven't even looked at Northwoods before, but I can tell you, I know that's in Northwoods. I've heard many times that's in Northwoods, but I knew that's exactly what you were getting ready to say. Like, that's the one right there that stood out, and that's why that's on page 13, and that's number 7, because that's the special one. That's the special one, right? Alright, sorry. I hate for going off on a number theory tangent there. But go ahead, sorry.
Number 8. It is possible to create an incident which will demonstrate convincingly that a Cuban aircraft has attacked and shot down a chartered civil airliner en route from the United States to Jamaica, Guatemala, Panama, or Venezuela. The destination would be chosen only to cause the flight plan route to cross Cuba. The passengers could be a group of college students off on a holiday or any grouping of persons with a common interest to support chartering a non-scheduled flight.
Who wrote that fucking shit? Some fucking
The
British
Joint
dude?
Chiefs of Staff under
What, are
Kennedy.
they fucking British? I don't get it.
Some military generals.
On a
and-
holiday. They're on holiday. I thought we said vacation in America. Why is all of a sudden that changed too? Where
This was
vacation is no longer-
1962.
No, but that's some like the fucking Mandela effect type of shit. Everybody says holiday anymore. It's like nobody says vacation.
I say vacation.
Yeah, like what the fuck? But like you see official shit like holiday. They've gone on holiday, and it's like, wait, what the fuck? Holiday is like Christmas, Halloween. That's holidays. What the fuck is go on holiday? That's a British thing and a British thing only, not an American thing. Anyway, sorry for that, Brian. Go ahead.
That's cool. Then they go on. There's a few subsections to that. A talks about how they would paint a plane to make it look like a real plane, and substitute it and offload the passengers.
Yeah. Yep.
B talks about how
That's what a lot of people believe happened on 9/11. I'm aware of those passengers.
B talks about how they would do something similar but have one plane be a drone and send a Mayday message saying it was under attack by a Cuban MiG.
Yeah, that's crazy too, dude. I think that's personally, like, have you ever seen that one picture online of the drone that was painted, or it might even be just a cruise missile that was painted to look like a Delta Airlines plane, and like they put wings on it and shit, and they painted like the whole entire thing to look like a Delta Airlines plane, but it was literally just like a missile that would be attached to the bottom of a fucking like F-18 fighter jet or some shit, like a big missile or some shit. But it's like, why would there even be a missile painted like that? Painted to look like a commercial jetliner. You know what I'm saying? Why would there's definitely a picture out there, and it really doesn't look photoshopped. It looks like it was like a test thing that they were doing. Like there's military dudes around it and shit. I refuse to believe that that's actually like involved. That whole little program or whatever they were doing there is involved with 9/11, even though it could be. I refuse to believe that myself. But why is there a cruise missile or a drone painted like a Delta Airlines fucking airliner? Why? What's the point of that? You know what I'm saying? And when you hear what you're talking about, it's like, no, but when you hear what you're talking, it's like, this is all just like political fucking, like a political game of fucking checkers. This isn't even chess because it's not fucking complicated enough. It's fucking just checkers, really. You put all the pieces together in front of you, it's just fucking checkers, dude. You know, it's not even Othello. Othello's not even that hard.
Shout out to Yards Brewing Company in Philadelphia.
Shout out to Othello. And Milton Bradley, or whoever makes Othello. Alright. Moving on.
Yeah, we're going to skip on the rest of the Northwoods document because there's not much else there that would pertain to 9/11.
Okay.
But
are we going to Shanksville, Brian?
Should we go to Shanksville?
You want to go to Shanksville? We could actually take this show right now, pack up the fucking car, and head out to Shanksville and continue the show in Shanksville if you really wanted to. I don't really want to do that. No, let's just talk about Shanksville instead of actually going to Shanksville and wasting 8 hours of our life on nothing.
Alright, I gotta figure out which one of these was Shanksville.
Sure.
Here it is! Dun dun dun! The crash of Flight 93 in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Evidence indicates Flight 93 was shot down.
Okay, yep. And how many flights, or how many planes have you seen that have crashed at the trajectory that it seems like by what the crash impact site looked like? How many flights have you seen where the plane has literally completely disintegrated? Completely, like with almost no trace left
real ones
of the plane. And they try and say the plane like dug down into the ground and was in the ground, and it's like, nah, like there was no real. It really looked like what landed was like the engine, and the engine blew the fuck up, and parts of it, little tiny pieces and parts of it were around, but you're not going to see any shards of the fucking plane because the plane actually fucking blew up in midair, and one of the engines came fucking off, and fucking that's what hit the ground and made that fucking mark. But they try and say that no, the plane just disintegrated, and it's like, that doesn't really.
And I love how
when you see plane
on
crashes,
the news. Do you remember back then on the news there was like random debris that didn't even look like it was from an airplane?
Exactly, like somebody went out there, like and drove out there real quick,
threw
and
it there.
It had like a trash bag full of just debris, and was just.
Oh shit!
Ow! I just hit my fucking microphone.
Damn. Dude.
Anyway, well, somebody's out there fucking tossing fucking debris and shit. Exactly, that shit would be fucking hilarious, but crazy. But I think a lot of people, not a lot of people, that there's fucking scientists and shit that try and say that the plane disintegrated because it hit the ground upside down. It was flying into the ground upside down, which kind of makes sense that the plane would be completely demolished and fucked up flying into the ground upside down at a high rate of speed. But there would still be some parts of it sitting around. There would still be like a chunk or two of it sitting around. There was nothing sitting around. That's what's really fucking weird to me about it. And then also the report that the flight the flight landed or something in like at Cleveland. Do you remember that report?
I do
remember hearing about that.
Yes.
That there was a report that the flight landed in Cleveland, and that that it was suspected of having a terrorist on board, or might have had a terrorist on board, or some shit, and like that the FBI had taken the plane into a hangar or some shit like that, and it's like we're investigating the situation, and then like that report was completely like swept under the rug, and it was like they put something out months later saying it was the report wasn't correct and they were wrong and this and that, they received false information and this and that, and it was just like it was all just completely swept under the rug. But it's like when you hear the Operation Northwoods document, you're like, well, couldn't that really could have actually happened? And this news station wasn't aware that they weren't supposed to be reporting on that. They were just like, it's 9/11.
Breaking news.
Exactly, this is breaking news. We've got
We're putting it out first. We're gonna get the ratings.
Exactly. Even though their big boss might have known that they weren't supposed to report on it, the fucking reporters themselves are like, I'm just trying to get the fucking story. You know what I'm saying? I'm just here to report on the shit, and it's a chaotic day, so like they slipped through the cracks and were able to report on some shit that actually happened. Then had to everybody had to sweep that under the rug. But what if the plane actually did land? They got all the fucking passengers off. Fucking to had another, or didn't even get all the passengers off, left all the passengers on the plane, took it in a hangar, and then fucking had another plane come out of another hangar that was completely had all the insignia and all the fucking the registration numbers were exactly the same. This plane takes off just in case for some reason it's not able to land, but for some reason it doesn't get shot down or pieces of it are found. It actually does only crash. Then of course there's going to be no bodies, and they can try and play that off like they did. The coroner came out and said there's no bodies. This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. There's no bodies to examine. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was pretty weird. But, I don't know what the fuck.
Well, remember, they got vaporized.
Oh, no. All those people,
in the official story.
That plane took off, right? The plane took off. So all those people, what happened to those people? One, if that's what happened. And the other plane took off. The replacement plane took off and was shot down by the Air Force, or shot down. Or the fucking the dudes who were flying it were like, you know what, I'm landing and I'm telling the truth. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it actually didn't, and they had to shoot it down. There's so many theories that could have fucking happened.
According to the official story, Flight 93
it's like a loop
was flown into the ground near Shanksville, PA, as a result of a struggle in the cockpit between hijackers and passengers who rushed them in an attempt to gain control of the aircraft, or otherwise prevent it from crashing into a strategic target such as the U.S. Capitol. The evidence shows Flight 93 did indeed crash near Shanksville, and suggests the passengers did struggle to gain control of the plane. However, the cause of the crash was apparently trauma to the aircraft, such as a missile strike.
Exactly, but when you see Flight 93, the movie, like, the reason for the plane crashing is because fucking, what do you call it? There's like a rush on the cockpit, and fucking the dudes who were fucking flying the plane fucking they got like pushed forward, and the fucking plane fucking nosedived into the ground and spun around and all this.
This article goes on to talk about the fact that there were, wasn't this the one from Popular Mechanics?
What is it? Let's roll? Was that it? Let's roll. Was that the fucking phrase that they fucking had? And they turned it into like its own little fucking meme. It was a meme. You don't remember that? The fucking people that were on Flight 93 and they fucking called their family and say, honey, I'm not going to talk to you again. And that whole shit. Fucking hold on. Did we even fucking touch that at all? Touch on that? There's so much weird shit about 9/11. It was fucking...
Let's look at this real quick, though. We're talking about it getting shot down, right?
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Far-flung debris. Mm-hmm. We just talked about there was a field with some debris that didn't look like it was from an airplane, but spread out over a large-scale area.
Much larger scale than a crash into the ground, exactly.
Yes, there was airplane debris found.
There's the airplane debris found.
Local officials state crash debris was spread over a very wide area. Yep. State police, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette State Police Major Lyles Zupinka confirmed that debris from the plane had turned up in relatively far-flung sites, including the residential area of Indian Lake. And it talks about Indian Lake is about 3 to 6 miles from the crash site. And small debris descended over Indian Lake in New Baltimore about 3 to 8 miles from the, quote, primary crash site. And an engine core was separated from the main impact crater by about 2,000 feet. Now, going down, an article in Popular Mechanics attempt to explain it, but they were full of shit. Then, let's see, down a little ways. Eyewitness accounts corroborate physical evidence that portions of the plane were destroyed in the air, consistent with a missile strike from a nearby military plane. These accounts support the following elements. a white jet in pursuit of the jetliner, peculiar engine sounds before the crash, sounds of explosions before the plane fell from the sky, and appearances that the plane suddenly began to drop vertically.
What if... What do you call it? The terrorists. What if the terrorists wasn't doing what they were supposed to be doing? What if they was trying to fly the plane, but they wasn't no good at flying the plane? So it was pretty obvious that within about 5 minutes, they weren't going to be able to control that plane anymore and keep it from fucking sinking to the fucking ground, because they don't even know how to really fucking accelerate the engines properly and this and that, right? Let's just say they're going 100 miles slower per hour than they're supposed to be going, and that plane is actually starting to fucking dip because it doesn't have enough speed, but they don't even realize that. They think they're still fucking flying, and like since the plane's dipping, they're pointing upwards, and they think they're actually going upwards like fucking some dummies, because they're moving forward and the plane's pointed upwards, so they think they're going upwards like some fucking dummies, right? And the fucking plane's dipping more and more and more, and it's fucking being watched on radar. Fucking Dick Cheney's watching that shit fucking down in the fucking bunker in the White House, right? He ran down to the fucking bunker as soon as it started happening, like a little boy on Christmas morning, right? It's true. That's the way I look at it. It's kind of the way I fucking assume he ran down, like all excited, like get Bushy on a plane so I can fucking run this shit.
No, Bushy was down reading the pet goat.
Oh, I know, but that's why he said get Bushy on a plane. Get Bushy on a plane in a loop. And I don't want him on the fucking ground, because while he's up in the air, I can run this shit, right? And that's what they did. They kept Bush up in the air, and he couldn't do a fucking thing. What do you call it? But Cheney saw that the fucking plane was losing altitude, like, oh fuck. He's supposed to be fucking flying into Building 7. What the fuck is this guy doing? He's fucking losing altitude. These motherfuckers don't know how to fucking fly. I thought we sent them to fucking flight school, right?
Now, see, I had a different theory on this.
He's like, we need to get somebody out there. We need to scramble some of our private jets to shoot this shit down, because NORAD was fucking sent another fucking way, weren't they?
Now, see, I had a different theory on that. I thought maybe somebody in some... I don't know, maybe not someone at NORAD, NORAD, North American Air Defense, but somebody at Northcom in the Pentagon, maybe, because that was a hectic day, maybe they forgot to inform someone that was supposed to be informed, and this guy was actually a pretty good guy, like, wait, no, why are we being ordered to stand down? No, this procedure says if we can't establish contact and they deviate, we're supposed to shoot them down, dispatch the F-15s.
Yeah.
Well, what didn't Vice President Cheney order us to stand down? No, protocol said we can't get a hold of him right now. Maybe that was while he was on his way down to the bunker.
Yeah.
We can't get a hold of him right now, so dispatch the F-15s. We gotta shoot this shit down.
The F-15s were already out. F-15s were already out and fucking for training exercises, and that was the fucking training exercises they were out fucking working on. So when they got the fucking call on it, which they did get a call on it before they were told to stand down, they fucking thought it was like, part of the fucking training exercise.
Oh shit, we already shot it down, boss.
And then when they were ordered to go somewhere, they were ordered to go the opposite fucking direction. You know, instead of following their fucking instinct and saying, holy shit, something is going on, I need to fucking get back to the fucking mainland and fucking defend this fucking... I'm one of the only people who can defend this shit right now from what's fucking going on. Fucking instead of that shit, they were getting fucking false information. They were fucking being told to fucking head out in the fucking opposite fucking direction. Head away from fucking what's going on. No, that's just part of the fucking training. Like, don't you remember there's training today? And it's like, you motherfucker. Like, the whole fucking thing is just like, something's fucking...
Well, look at...
Can I see your lighter?
You remember there was a training thing going... You can have this one, actually, because I have a new one. What's wrong with that one?
It's dead.
Oh.
Like the Eagles. They're dead this year.
Remember at the Twin Towers there was a drill going on simulating first response.
Well, most people don't know
airplanes hitting the Twin
FEMA
Towers.
showed up on 9/10. FEMA 9/11 wasn't. If 9/11 wasn't a what do you call it? Well, there was no kind of plan other than 19 hijackers planning it and Osama bin Laden behind the whole thing, right? Do you think FEMA would have showed up the day before? You know, in preparation for a drill they were starting the next day? It wasn't even like they were starting the drill on the 10th. They were starting the drill on the 11th, but they showed up and got prepared on the 10th. And all of a sudden on the 11th, they wake up, they come to work, they're expecting to do their drill, and all of a sudden, oh shit, It's really going down.
Yeah.
Well, we're set up.
Now,
Let's get to work. You know.
Now
what I'm saying?
you know somewhere there was some idiot up there going, "Damn, this is a pretty realistic drill."
Dude, when you saw how fast they were getting the steel out of there, and not getting the steel and putting it just to the side, like it's not like it wasn't like they were getting it. You didn't get the impression they were getting rid of the steel to find bodies and to find people. You got the impression they were getting rid of the steel to clear the fucking area, to clear the fucking mess. And that, like I've heard a lot of people say, that isn't how you treat the biggest crime scene ever. You don't just immediately come in and start, like, cleaning it up. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of evidence that needs to be collected and sorted through, and, like, there's a lot of shit, that maybe a week's worth of shit that needs to be done. You know what I'm saying? There needs to be rescue efforts first. You know what I'm saying? But they, right along with rescue efforts, they removed all the fucking steel. Like, as they started rescue efforts, fucking trucks were arriving to fucking remove steel. Of course you're going to remove steel while you're trying to rescue people. But even when they fucking were 99% sure that there was nobody alive underneath to where they were just at, they were still removing steel from that fucking shit. And I didn't get the impression that they were removing that steel to find more people. They were removing that steel to start cleanup.
What about how,
and
after all that, they managed to find a pass? I like the official story. They found a passport from one of the hijackers that somehow survived the plane impact and fluttered to the ground, but they couldn't find the black boxes.
Yeah. Well, what's also weird is, I don't know how true this is. I've heard it mentioned in a couple different documentaries that like 16 or 15 of the 19 hijackers are alive. Living in other countries and like living their life as they always did. And they're like, what the fuck? Like, how am I one of the hijackers who flew a plane into the World Trade Center and like I'm still here? I'm still living today. How is that the case? How is that the case that I fly plane into the World Trade Center, but I stand in front of you here 10 years later telling you I did not do it, and you try to tell me I do? What is that? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what those motherfuckers are saying. It's like and there's still like no logical explanation. Yeah. Like, there's been news stories and reports on the hijackers still living among us, and still like they haven't died. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we talked about...
That's not Mandela effect.
Well, we just showed that back in 1962, the Joint Chiefs of Staff were more than willing to stage a similar type event, similar scale event, to justify an unpopular war. Mm-hmm. Well, just throwing this out there, after 9/11... Dick Cheney's Halliburton made $39.5 billion in the Iraq War.
Yep, I believe it.
$39.5 billion.
Yeah, I believe it.
And who ordered the stand down of NORAD? The people, the whistleblowers that came out, all named Vice President Dick Cheney as the contact on the other end of the phone.
Exactly. And that's what's like... People say, oh, he's not evil. Oh, he didn't shoot his friend in the face. Even if he didn't actually, and you know he did, but even if he didn't actually shoot his friend in the face on purpose, he's still, he's like the Penguin. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's like, Batman's the Penguin. Or he's like the Claw. There you go. He's like Inspector Gadget's the Claw. You know what I'm saying? He's got that glove hidden somewhere at his fucking house or somewhere. He's got a cat that he fucking pets and fucking, I'll get you one day, Gadget. You know what I'm saying? That's Dick Cheney. I'm telling you.
And he would have got away with it if it wasn't for us meddling kids.
Well, I don't know about all that. That's a little comical for me. The Claw's a little more serious.
Yeah, Inspector Gadget's a serious show. Come on now. Of course, maybe some people never heard. The reason those planes weren't shot down and they were allowed to hit the towers was NORAD was ordered to stand down by Vice President Dick Cheney.
NORAD actually would have had a chance to stop it. That's what I've heard, is that they would have had a good chance at stopping it.
Listen to this. NORAD was unusually prepared on 9/11 because it was conducting a week-long semi-annual exercise called Vigilant Guardian. On 9/11, North American Aerospace Defense Command's Northeast Air Defense Sector was fully staffed, its key officers and enlisted supervisors already manning the Operations Center battle cab. Mm-hmm. Colonel Robert Marr, U.S. Air Force, We had the fighters with a little more gas on board, a few more weapons on board. We had 14 aircraft on alert, 7 sites, 2 aircraft at each site. That's a ratio of 3.5 hot, heavily loaded fighter jets per hijacked airliner. Just throwing that out there.
Sure.
And then there has the map of where they were training and the routes they were running, and they were in perfect position to intercept all of those planes.
Wow.
The above map, which I don't know if there's a way you can put this on the video so anyone watching it can see it.
Okay.
The above map that all of the hijacked planes' transponders were turned off during their flights. This does not hide the plane, as it can still be tracked by skin paint, but it hides the plane's altitude, and it should immediately call attention to the aircraft.
Mm-hmm.
The U.S. Air Force response against Flight 11? None. The U.S. Air Force response against Flight 175? At 8:45 a.m., Flight 175 was taken over by 5 hijackers who used knives, mace, and the threat of a bomb. Both pilots are killed, and the plane is diverted southward toward New York City. At 8:53, unaware that their intended target has already crashed into the World Trade Center, the F-15s from Otis Air Force Base are sent to military-controlled airspace off Long Island and ordered to remain in a holding pattern until around 9:15. Flight 11 crashed into World Trade Center 1, and Flight 175 was hijacked and heading toward New York. Fighter jets were ordered to stay in a holding pattern off Long Island. Why weren't they ordered to protect New York?
Exactly. Others set
The US
in the fucking opposite direction.
According to this theory, from this page, the U.S. Air Force had no response. Oh, okay. U.S. Air Force response against Flight 93.
Okay.
None? Question mark?
None. Exactly.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Last moments of Flight 93 were viewed from another aircraft.
Mm-hmm.
Executive 956. Okay, I think we got him in sight. So it stands to reason that other planes reported seeing Flight 93 during its flight, therefore the military could have easily located the plane. That being said, why didn't the FAA and military locate all of the hijacked aircraft through planes which were known to be in their vicinities? Maybe they did. Let's see, it goes on. This is the only problem with this shit. Get all the ads in the middle of the websites and whatnot.
Oh, you gotta get ad blocker, bro. I thought we were gonna get ad blocker.
Oh, there's a quote from the Northern Command to the pilot, Executive 956.
Okay.
Be careful what we say on the loop, because these are being recorded and these tapes will be handed over.
Wow. Yep. So there's a whole backstory, you know? It's like, don't talk on the record about this shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Now the response to Flight 77. We already went into Flight 93, that's why I'm skipping through that. The U.S. military knew Flight 77 had been hijacked at approximately 8:50.
Mm-hmm.
During the hour or so that American Airlines Flight 77 was under control of the hijackers up to the moment it, I say, quote, end quote, struck the west side of the Pentagon, because I don't believe it was a plane.
Mm-hmm.
Military officials in a command center on the east side of the building were urgently talking to law enforcement and air traffic control officials about what to do. A mystery plane had a bird's eye view of the Pentagon. And then there's a picture.
Well, look at it this way, dude. There's two things about the Pentagon. One, it was supposed to be the most heavily secured military or intelligence building or whatever, security building, national security building in the United States and possibly the world at the time, right? So I would expect that there's at least more than a couple cameras watching every angle of the Pentagon, okay? And watching outwards from the Pentagon.
How come all we get was those 5 frames that don't even look like a jetliner?
There's businesses around the Pentagon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Every business that had cameras that faces the Pentagon
were confiscated within minutes.
Within minutes of the impact on the Pentagon, there were vehicles that arrived and
took the tapes,
from what military organization or what intelligence organization, I'm not quite sure, and I haven't seen what organization they were from, but a military or intelligence organization came and took literally, if you had tapes, they took your tapes.
Yeah.
All your tapes. If you had a system that was recorded like on a hard drive, they just took your system.
Yeah.
And you were shit out of luck. You could try and sue the government if you want, but a terrorist attack just happened. You're kind of shit out of luck and just buy yourself a new fucking thing. Maybe your insurance will cover it because the government took it. You know what I'm saying? For a national investigation or whatever that you're not really involved in. They just needed your footage. But how come that occurred? And how come none of that video has ever been released? It's been treated as if that video has never existed.
There was a woman whose name I don't recall off the top of my head, but she's come out saying she worked in that side of the Pentagon that got hit.
Yep.
And she actually had her young infant child, I forget if it was a son or daughter. I think it was her daughter. And I don't know why. I forget whatever reason. She brought her daughter to work that day.
Mm-hmm.
She's sitting there at her computer. As soon as she sits down, turns her computer on, there's like an explosion that sounds like a bomb going off. And the room quickly filled with smoke and flames, so she just grabbed her daughter and ran out of the hole in the wall that was originally only 6 feet in diameter, and saw what appeared to be an F-22 flying away.
See, I don't know if that lady's full of shit. Maybe she's not. She could be completely telling
I
the
forget
truth.
her name, but
what
she's
I know,
come out,
though,
like,
is
publicly.
that part of the Pentagon was actually under construction at the moment, under renovation at the moment, and there was actually very, very few offices and workspaces around that area that were still being used. A lot of it was not gutted, but a lot of it was empty. A lot of the spaces were empty and were like, they're not completely empty. They had desks and stuff like that, but they weren't being used, and it was like a closed part of the Pentagon. Not closed like nobody can go there, but closed as far as not being used because it's being renovated. All right, I knew somebody that was working there at the time as a contractor, okay, as a government contractor doing work there. That day, from what I've been told by that person, that day they were given the day off. Like, it was a scheduled day off. It's not like it was that day fucking that shit happened and fucking they were told to go home. No, that was a scheduled day off where it was a Tuesday. You remember it was a Tuesday, so why would they have off Tuesday? But shit, they'll take a day off.
Well, here's something for you.
But there was nobody in that area. There was nobody working in that area because it was under
Yeah,
renovation.
she wasn't in that area,
And
but parts of that side were
but
still
the
up and
construction
running.
workers that were working in that area weren't there that day.
And there was no debris resembling an airplane.
Maybe there were some. Maybe that dude's full of shit and I'm wrong and there were construction workers there. But from what I've been told is that there was literally, that was an empty part of the building. So if there's one part of the building that should have been hit, if that was going to happen, and if you can control any aspect of it happening, that's the part you need to hit, because we're not really trying to lose. I'm not trying to lose Sally down the fucking hall, because I kind of like Sally. You know what I'm saying? It's like Sally gets me coffee every now and then, and you know she puts the fucking cream cheese on my bagel like nobody fucking else. Exactly. She's good at her job. I like Sally. Not really trying to lose Sally, so you know what? I'm not trying to risk that happening. How about we just have it hit? If we can control it at all, let's see if we can have it hit the fucking side that's being renovated, and fuck it, we're already.
And if the several accounts of a fighter described as a lot of people that were down there said it looked like a stealth fighter, but I'm imagining an F-22 would be used because from what I hear, it made those cuts and turns that only an F-22 could make.
Okay, because I was imagining the I can't even remember it anymore. You know what I'm talking about, the Black Triangle.
Oh, the B-2 bomber? Oh no, the F-117 stealth fighter.
I don't know, the one that's invisible to radar.
Yeah, well, there's a couple of those.
Alright, well, I'm talking about the
Well, the F-22 is supposed to
the
be,
one
I
that
think. I don't know.
whichever one could fire that missile.
Here's something really interesting for you. Here's something interesting for you. As 77 was heading toward D.C., it shows another map of D.C. with Andrews Air Force Base. Shows the base had F-16 fighter jets. It's 11 miles away from the Pentagon. could have intercepted Flight 77. Instead, F-16s were scrambled from Langley Air Force Base, which is 120 miles south of the Pentagon, at 9:30 a.m. 9:38, the Pentagon was hit.
See?
And then, here, this gets interesting. Oh, shit. Someone told The Guardian, "We heard what sounded like a missile. Then we heard a loud boom," said Tom Siebert, 33, a network engineer at the Pentagon. "We were sitting there and watching this thing from New York, and I said, the next best target would be us. And 5 minutes later, boom."
Yeah, see, I think Tom overheard a conversation maybe he wasn't supposed to overhear, and that was his way of trying to tell people that it's possible to happen, but in his mind he was probably thinking, like, they're not really going to do that to us. But he also feels like he's got to say something, because if it happens, it's like, shit, I called this shit. I called it. I told you it was going to happen. You see, I told you they were coming for us next. We all got a little bit of fucking ego. I'm sure that guy does too. He wants to be fucking, everybody be like, damn, Tom called that shit. Yo, Dan, did you hear Tom 5 minutes ago? Tom said this shit just hit us. Tom just said 5 minutes ago, we're the next target. We're probably the next target.
Yeah.
Can you believe that shit? Like, that's what Tom's fucking, that's what's going through Tom's head. He just overheard some shit he wasn't supposed to fucking hear. Sorry. I don't even know Tom. Sorry, Tom, if I'm wrong.
I don't even remember what this one is. Let me scroll down and see what this was all about.
What?
Oh, I think this had to do with, this is an article from, okay, this is the one for Popular Mechanics that said it had to deal with the building collapsing.
Oh, yeah.
Heat stress.
Yeah, that's where Popular Mechanics kind of proved itself to be a shill of a magazine and not actually about any kind of science or any kind of actual true objective perspective. They're very subjective.
Claim. "We have been lied to," announces the website attackonamerica.net. The first lie was that load of jet fuel from the aircraft was the cause of structural failure. No kerosene fire can burn hot enough to melt steel. The posting is titled "Proof of Controlled Demolition at the World Trade Center." Now, fact. Jet fuel burns at 800 degrees to 1500 degrees Fahrenheit. Not hot enough to melt steel. 2,750 degrees Fahrenheit, about twice as hot.
Okay.
However, experts agree that for the towers to collapse, their steel frames didn't need to melt, they just had to lose some of their structural strength. And that required exposure to much less heat. "I have never seen melted steel in a building fire," says retired New York Deputy Fire Chief Vincent Dunn, author of The Collapse of Burning Buildings, A Guide to Fire Ground Safety.
Okay.
"But I've seen a lot of twisted, warped, bent, and sagging steel. What happens is that the steel tries to expand at both ends, but when it can no longer expand, it sags and the surrounding concrete cracks. Steel loses 50% of its strength at 1100 degrees Fahrenheit," adds senior engineer Fareed Alawakiri of the American Institute of Steel Construction.
Okay.
Okay, and at 800 degrees...
1800.
1800 degrees, yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
It is probably at less than 10%. Now, that's still a lot hotter than we already established jet fuel can burn.
Yes, but jet fuel, and then a jet fuel explosion, it might be able to burn a little bit hotter than that in the initial explosion. But when you watch the film, you see an initial explosion. You see an initial explosion that is almost obvious that it's a fuel explosion, a large amount of fuel that is just going.
They claim that it got hot enough because of all the curtains and paper and thick
flammable. But no other building has ever burned hot enough to actually collapse from the burning, right? And what they're trying to say, well, the reason that it burned is because of the jet fuel. Okay, well, listen to this, all right? All right, jet fuel, plane crashes in the building. Jet fuel leaks into fucking building. Let's just say plane crashes in the building. Jet fuel, some explodes, but some actually doesn't and lands in the building and finds, they say, created a conduit for the jet fuel, right? Well, fucking jet fuel isn't going to just pull up on the shit. I'm pretty sure it's not going to just pull up on the fucking, on a floor somewhere and even if it did, if it caught fire, it would go, you know what I'm saying? It wouldn't, you're not going to have, it's fuel. When you watch fuel burn, no matter what, it's fuel. It fuels, the way fuel burns is it does not, it's not kerosene, you know what I'm saying? It's not something, it's not a slow burning fuel. Jet fuel is a much faster burning fuel from what I know.
And those fires were raging for hours.
Exactly. But those fires were not, the temperatures of those fires, you've seen building fires that have raged for hours that are like almost like twice as bad as those fires were. And so that's why they say like, oh, that wouldn't have made the building collapse. But the jet fuel is what made the building collapse. But it's like that's a really weak statement to make because a lot
Let's
of jet
move
fuel
on, man. Let's keep going with this one.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
This is still the Popular Mechanics article.
Okay.
Claim each tower collapsed, clearly visible puffs of dust and debris were ejected from the sides of the building. An advertisement in the New York Times for the book Painful Questions, an analysis of the September 11th attack made this claim. The concrete clouds shooting out of the buildings are not possible from a mere collapse. They do occur from explosions. Now, if we go down to the fact portion, once each tower began to collapse, the weight of all the floors above the collapse zone bore down with pulverizing force on the highest intact floor. Unable to absorb the massive energy, that floor would fail, transmitting the forces to the floor below, allowing the collapse to progress downward through the building in a chain reaction.
Yeah, but the fucking steel...
And engineers call that pancaking.
What do you call it? The core. The concrete core or whatever, fucking... That part would have fucking... should have toppled because the bottom part was not weakened whatsoever. And yeah, you could say, oh, well, the force of the building coming down on top of it. No. That core was compromised. That core was weakened. And the one thing Popular Mechanics refuses to touch on, I guarantee you in this whole entire fucking article, I'll just peruse it real quick. Yep, World Trade Center 7, they'd like to touch on so many things that are kind of not easily debunkable, but debunkable. I'll give them that. But what about the nanothermate that's been found in fucking in the dust? Okay? Where's the fucking talk of nanothermate? Ready? In this whole article, I'll go to the search thing and look for nanothermate. Or not nanothermate, just thermate.
Thermite.
And that thermate was what was used. That's what's crazy. People believe it's thermite. And thermate are close to the same thing. But I've just put in thermate and thermite, and neither one has come up. Oh. So Popular Mechanics does not really want to talk about the actual tough stuff that has been discovered. That's kind of hard, you know what I'm saying? Or any of Judy Wood's research. I'm not saying Judy Wood's completely correct, but Dr. Judy Wood has put out some very interesting research and the pictures that she has of some of the damage that has occurred, that did occur that day, is not consistent with the attack and what happened. And even the collapse of the buildings, that's not consistent with the collapse of a building on top. Like some of the cars burn out halfway, the paint peeled on them. Like some of the shit just really does not seem right.
You know I know we talk a lot of shit on him, and especially the last few episodes.
Yeah.
But Alex Jones did put out, he produced Loose Change, which talked a lot about the Saudi involvement at the time. But the other one, he did 9/11, The Road to Tyranny. And I forget the scientist's name. If somebody wants to look it up, put it in the comments for us. The scientist that he interviewed in that was talking about that. Yeah, well, thermite powder was found, thermite residue. He showed on the video this leaking thing. This is caused by thermite. And... he showed all the scientific evidence.
If you really want to go,
if you want to go to the scientific side, watch that.
Well, if you really want to go deep down the rabbit hole, look into some of the nanothermite videos that have been made, or the either nanothermite or even thermate videos that have been made. Some people, of course, there's a debate. A lot of people think it's nanothermite that was found. Other people think it's nanothermate or just thermate. I'm on the thermate side. But anyway, if you look at any of those videos and you find people who have done experiments with thermate or nanothermite, you come to find when you watch those experiments and how they'll pack thermite into a compact like steel thing that is able, like, basically created to, once you ignite whatever's inside of it, it slices through steel, and people are able to slice through steel fairly quickly with this shit. You realize, like, holy fuck, that's like very plausible of how those fucking buildings were able to come down so fucking easily, so fucking quickly. Because the pancake effect makes a lot of sense. But you know what? The pancake effect does not make any sense when you think about the pancake effect and you
the fact
watch
they were
the
hit
fucking
at the
video.
top, not the bottom.
No, but when you watch the fucking video.
Oh, yeah.
When you watch the video of them coming down. Like, when they start, you're like, okay, I see a pancake effect. But the pancake effect doesn't turn buildings into dust.
No.
Does not turn them into dust with fucking nothing left and the core just gone. You know what I'm saying? The core would be half fallen. Nothing fell really over. You know what I'm saying? It fell straight
controlled.
into... Exactly.
And when they admit... It took them a while to come out and admit it, but they admitted Building 7 was a controlled demolition.
Yeah.
And
See,
Building 7's collapse looked a lot like the same way the two towers collapsed.
Yeah. Well, Building 7, there's much more behind Building 7 in the past 5 years or so. There's been a lot of debunking work, I guess you could say, on Building 7, and there's still a lot of questions surrounding Building 7. But I feel personally that Building 7 should not be the focus here. Building 7 is pretty obviously another building that was supposed to come down and nobody was really supposed to notice, and we all focus on it a little too much. But that's part of the reason it was brought down, because they knew with this huge situation, this and that, if a building was brought down kind of in peculiar circumstances, a lot of people say a plane was meant for the Building 7. Maybe that wasn't the case. Well, maybe that wasn't the case. Maybe that was Shanksville was maybe destined for the Capitol. You know what I'm saying? The Capitol
building
Shanksville
itself was destined for the Pentagon, got shot down, and they still had to have that missile hit the Pentagon to make up for it.
Maybe. But
that's
what I'm saying is, right, Building 7 might have been brought down as kind of a psyop for conspiracy theorists to be like, they brought that building, and for conspiracy theorists to focus on Building 7, like what happened to Building 7. Come on, there's a whole movement what happened to Building 7. Right?
I like that way of thinking. I never thought of that.
When you think about the offices and the things that were in Building 7, of course conspiracy theorists are going to be like, hello. Yeah. And even like CIA it's a win-win, because you're going to have them like focusing on Building 7 instead of the political situation that's actually behind it, and the other stuff. They're going to focus on how blatant it was, and like we've got to get everybody to believe this and this and that, and it's like,
I'll tell you,
it could have just been a psyop, you know. Building 7.
I'll tell you what Michael C. Rupert was focusing on in the September 18th, 2001 issue of From the Wilderness.
Yeah, Michael C. Rupert. I don't know about him though. I think he's controlled opposition. But go ahead, read it.
Well, there are direct historical links between Osama bin Laden's business interests and those of the Bush family. September 15th, I received the following message from Professor John Metzger of Michigan State University. We should revisit the historical BCCI, a bank used by the legendary Palestinian terrorist known as Abu Nidal. BCCI was closely tied to American and Pakistan intelligence. Its clients include the Afghan rebels and the brother of Osama bin Laden, Salem. Salem bin Laden named Houston investment broker James R. Bath as his business representative in Texas, right after George W. Bush's father became CIA director in '76. By '77, Bath invested $50,000 into Junior's first business, Arbusto Energy. Well, that's Bush Jr., I'm assuming. While Osama bin Laden would soon become a CIA asset. A lot of people don't know that either, even though they admit it.
Yep, Tim Osman.
Good man. George W. Bush's FBI director, Robert Mueller.
Not a good man. What are you talking about?
No, I'm saying you. The fact that you.
Okay, I thought you were saying
Tim
Osman's a good man.
No!
I'm like, I don't know about all that. I didn't know him, so I can't really comment. But
oh my God. Well, who is Tim Osman? Tell them.
Tim Osman is the CIA acquisition, I guess, that he would be called at the time of him being the acquisition. A CIA acquisition that was originally a part of the Mujahideen and became leadership of the Mujahideen because his family was a political strong point or political power in the Middle East, right? So he, I believe in Saudi Arabia, actually, maybe not. But
If I
he
recall, it might have
became
been.
kind of a leader of the Mujahideen, and the United States was funding them to fight the Russians in Afghanistan, I believe, right? And after that whole situation was successful, the United States said, you know what? This is an asset. This is something we could use. You know what? We're looking for our next big bad guy, and we've got him sitting right in front of us. Nobody knows that we've really trained these guys and all that. You know what? We're going to bring him in. We're going to turn him into a fucking CIA asset. Sorry, I call him an acquisition. A CIA asset. And he's going to run a terrorist organization for us. You know what I'm saying? Hence, blah, blah, blah. There you go. Osama bin Laden. But you know what? We can't call him Osama bin Laden because people are going to link him back to that fucking bin Laden family. If anybody ever fucking reads a document that says, we've set this up with Osama and blah, 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 they're going to be like, what the fuck is this? But Tim Osman, and if we just say we've set this up with Osman, people will know we're talking about Osama. Oh. Osman. Okay. Yeah, alright. Yeah, I'll give Osman a call for you. No problem.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And it's like, it's almost laughable how
Well, you
it's
mentioned
not chess,
earlier.
it's checkers.
You mentioned earlier the operation with SEAL Team 6 that went in and killed Osama bin Laden,
Mhm.
and I mentioned that shortly thereafter, particularly those members of SEAL Team 6, were killed and hid by Hillary
Benghazi,
Clinton
right?
at
Yep.
Benghazi. Yeah.
Yep.
So here's something interesting for you.
Huh.
In his book, Osama bin Laden, Dead or Alive,
Mhm.
the political analyst and philosopher David Ray Griffin, former emeritus professor at California's Claremont School of Theology,
Okay.
is provoking shockwaves.
Provoking shot.
For it goes into far more detail about his supposed death and suggests there's been a cover-up by the West. The book claims that bin Laden died of kidney failure or a linked complaint on December 13th, 2001.
Yes,
while
thank
living
you.
in Afghanistan's
Thank you.
Tora Bora Mountains.
Thank you. Oh my god, that's what I say. That's what I always say. People look at me like, yeah, okay, well, no, you're wrong. And I'm like, no, there was a Fox News report, and even though they redacted the report and brought it, and like they kind of deleted it off their website and shit, the report's still out there, you know, that they reported on it. It's like, it's not like it was fucking, they tried to hide it fucking when they put it out. Fucking report was out there that Osama bin Laden, before Osama bin Laden was really even named the big terrorist that he is, or the big terrorist that he was supposed to be, before he was like really pointed out as that, and we were trying to figure out who was really behind it, they put out this news story saying Osama bin Laden has died of kidney failure and has been on dialysis for years.
What did we open the show with? Operation Northwoods, right?
Yeah, read it to me, right?
The author insists that many bin Laden tapes made since that date have been concocted by the West to make the world believe bin Laden was still alive. The purpose? To stoke up waning support for the war on terror in Iraq and Afghanistan. Sound like Cuba 62?
Yeah, yeah. You ever heard the people that say that Obama was Osama?
Yeah, I saw that bullshit.
Isn't that great that they
There's
try
no
and match
way,
up
dude,
the
no
nose
way.
and the ears, and they're like, Osama bin Laden was Obama. That's why we didn't know Obama back in the day.
It's like
my
really, dude.
That's hilarious.
It is. It really is.
Yeah, people can convince you anything on the internet. I'll tell you what. If it's on the internet, it's got to be true.
Well, to understand Griffin's thesis, we must remember the West's reaction to 9/11. Within a month, on Sunday, October 7th, the U.S. and Britain launched massive retaliatory airstrikes in the Tora Bora region, where they said prime suspect bin Laden, quote unquote, was living as a guest of Afghanistan. The military offensive ignored the fact that bin Laden had already insisted 4 times in official Al-Qaeda statements made to the Arab press that he played no role in 9/11.
Yes, exactly. And then all of a sudden, it seems almost like around the beginning of 2002, Osama started coming out and saying, "Death to America. Yes, we hate America. Everybody kill America." You know what I'm saying? Like, but before that, I do remember those reports of Osama literally stating, "I didn't have anything to do with this. Sorry, it wasn't me. If it was me, I'd tell you it was me. But it wasn't me. I wasn't involved with this." And it's like, whoa. How would he change his story? Why would he just change his story? Well, if he died and all of a sudden fucking he was just a fictional character being portrayed, and they have actors portraying him and this and that. Well, yeah, you can have him say whatever you want to say, and you can fucking cater his message to what you want fucking people to hear from him. So we fucking go to war with him. You know, we're out to fucking behead you. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
On the fourth occasion, September 28th, 2001. A fortnight after the atrocity, he declared emphatically, "I have already said I am not involved.
Yep.
As a Muslim, I try my best to avoid telling a lie. I have no knowledge, nor do I consider the killing of innocent women, children, and other humans as an appreciable act."
Yep. See?
Within hours of the October 7th strikes by the U.S. on Tora Bora, bin Laden made his first ever appearance on videotape.
Okay.
Dressed in army fatigues and with an Islamic headdress, he had an assault rifle propped behind him in a broadly lit mountain hideout. Significantly, he looked pale and gaunt.
Do you think that was really him?
I don't know.
I think it was. If he
October
looked pale and gaunt,
December, yeah.
you know what I'm saying? He might have been pissed off and fucking. He might have actually been genuinely pissed off at America for now attacking him or attacking where he lives.
It's like, what
for
the fuck? I
what he had nothing to do with. Exactly. Like, I thought we were fucking friends. Now all of a sudden you're blaming this attack who somebody did to you. You probably did to yourself, but somebody did to you, not me. And now you're fucking attacking my fucking homeland because of it. You know what? Now I am a little bit pissed off at you because I thought we were fucking friends. I feel like you stabbed me in the fucking back. That's kind of fucked up. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting close to telling people that shit.
Yeah, it's like,
you're
all of a sudden bombing my villages. You're blowing up my people. Like, what the hell is this?
Yep. Not taking sides with Osama bin Laden here.
No, we're just...
He might have actually, where he was saying I had nothing to do with it, he might have went from that to, I had nothing to do with it, but fuck America, you motherfuckers. What are you doing?
Yeah, now I'm going to do something.
Now you're killing fucking men, women, and children in my fucking homeland and I had nothing to do with that shit.
Operation Northwoods. Provocation and harassment.
Mm-hmm.
We staged something to blame on them, and then...
And since he genuinely
our
got pissed off,
perspective is he did it.
See, but
now he's really the one who's retaliating.
But look,
you know,
he genuinely got pissed off at America before he died, and made that known that he was genuinely pissed off at America for doing what they're doing and blaming everything on him. And then all of a sudden he dies, and everybody thinks he goes into hiding because the news is kind of swept under the rug, and like U.S. intelligence tries to hide it and this and that, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he fucking, because they're trying to keep it as their own political ploy and keep the fucking whole war on terror going, but everybody's like, he's gone into hiding, but he still puts out videos, and they're really just American fucking made videos, right? Or some sort of fucking American affiliated fucking video. Exactly, something like that. And they're putting out these fucking videos, and the whole people who call themselves Al-Qaeda or fucking fighting for the cause of what they call fucking Al-Qaeda or whatever, all those people are seeing those videos like, and like he's ramping up like, attack America, we hate America, and this and that, and they're like, fuck America, you know, fuck that, and like, they remember him when he was alive, thinking he's still alive, and that he was pissed off then. He's just getting more pissed off now because they keep on attacking us. And it's like, we're controlling both sides of the shit.
It's 1984.
Just to fucking get our fucking war
it's
going.
Orwell. It's 1984.
Oh man, it like hurts my brain to fucking think about, because when you really start putting the puzzle together in your head, you're like, can it really be that fucked up? Is it really that fucked up? You know what I'm saying? Like that, because that's some fucked up shit. It's all that kind of shit really happening. It's like,
whenever you talk to anybody who's in the military who knows anything or overhears something, or that guy, or who has served in a high position, it's always, all they'll say is they won't talk about it. They'll just, the rabbit hole's deep, and you keep asking questions. They're just like, the rabbit hole's very deep.
Yep. It is.
Just, the rabbit hole's very deep.
It is very deep, dude. It's scary to really get into, and it's scary.
And that's all they'll say.
Well, and now I guess we can kind of like look back and now start to see maybe what the motives were and the long-term motives were, because we're still involved in the Middle East and there's still issues and problems kind of because of us now, you know what I'm saying? Whereas the problems before were their problems, but now we've interjected.
Predator drones!
They've like said, you know
dun,
what,
dun, dun.
let's not worry about our problems. The main problem is these motherfuckers killing our fucking people, you know what I'm saying? That's what fucking people are saying over there. That's what honestly I think is the truth of why shit has just continued to go on, because we're not over there creating peace. We're over there with guns walking around. Is that peaceful? Hold on, is that peaceful? Fucking a whole bunch of motherfuckers who aren't from here walking around with their guns? That ain't peaceful. That's just only going to continue to create problems. Continue. That's all.
True.
And when people find out, I don't want to say find out, but people realize that, like, there might actually be such thing as terrorism, but a lot of the terrorism stems from the people who are here to fight it, and it's all caused by them. It's like, all you want to say is like, yo, get the fuck out of here. You get the fuck out of here and take your fucking problem that you created with you. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're fucking thinking in their head. They're not thinking, death to America, we hate your culture and your ways. They're like, no, you motherfuckers, like, it's not even about America. It's about that fucking, whoever's fucking paying these fucking dudes in fucking camo and boots to come around with fucking guns and order us around in our fucking own fucking homeland. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what they're thinking in their heads. They're not like, yo, death to America, you know what I'm saying? Some motherfuckers might be a little mentally unstable. Like, we have mentally unstable people here. Some motherfuckers might be mentally unstable and see motherfuckers from our homeland walking around their homeland with guns, and might, because they're mentally unstable, might be like, death to America, fuck them motherfuckers, I want to kill them, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, like, that's, like, we would have our mentally unstable people might do the exact same thing. And might fucking be treated as, like, terrorists, and that's the reason we're here, is to, like, kill your mentally unstable terrorists, you know? It's like, we don't look at it as that's their mentally unstable terrorists. We look at it as that's their terrorist, and we're there to fight them. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, what if somebody, another country came in and said, well, your problem is you're mentally ill, and we're here to take care of your mentally ill and get rid of them. You know, what are we going to say? Like, yo, get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of fucked up. You're gonna come in here and incite our fucking mentally ill to fucking fight them. It's almost like you're fucking poking at them and shit, like, and it's like, we're supposed to just sit back and like that shit? Alright, I'm sorry. Good.
Okay, on a second videotape, November 3rd, 2001, once again, an ailing bin Laden lashed out at the United States. He urged true Muslims to celebrate the attacks, but did not at any time acknowledge he had been involved in the atrocity.
Okay, see? And what was that? What was the date?
November 3rd.
November 3rd. See, okay, so a month later he dies, but...
And then there was silence until December 13th, 2001.
Okay.
The date Griffin claims bin Laden died.
Okay.
That very day, the U.S. government released a new video of the terror chief. In this tape, bin Laden contradicted all his previous denials and suddenly admitted to his involvement in the atrocities of 9/11.
Literally, the day he dies, the day he can no longer say, no, that's not true.
That, but that's just...
No, the day that he can no longer say, come out and publicly state, that's not true, that was not me. I still don't believe, or I still want everybody to know I had nothing to do with that. The day that he can no longer say that, literally the day that he no longer can say that, fucking, like, within the hour, the United States put out a video contradicting everything he fucking said, just so they could fucking start to really push their fucking agenda the way they'd like it to fucking go, and create their fucking fictional fucking, it's like fucking, it's almost like a DC or a Marvel fucking villain. That's what they, like, tried to create right there, and they had to wait for him to die, and they knew that he was going through kidney failure, and they maybe even fucking exacerbated it or helped it.
Oh, it gets better, right? This was December 13th. The tape had reportedly been found by U.S. troops in a private home in Jalalabad, Afghanistan.
Yeah, exactly.
After the anti-Taliban forces took over the city. A label attached to it claimed it had been made on November 9th.
Yeah. Yeah, see, and here's the thing. I bet you there's a couple soldiers out there that found that tape. Or, like, I found that tape. You're not going to sit here and tell me that that's fake tape that was created by the United States military. I fucking found that tape, alright? You're not going to tell me, alright? But the funny part is, it won't even cross that dude's mind that there was more than likely a fucking clandestine agent, CIA agent, whatever the fuck it is, who planted that tape and then made a call, put in a fucking intelligence call into the military in that fucking, the army in that fucking area's fucking commander or chief or whatever the fuck it is, and said, hey, you got to go check out these 3 houses. They're suspected of having, Osama bin Laden is suspected of having been stayed there or may still be there. You got to go check these houses. So they go check and fucking clear these 3 houses, but they find a videotape in one of them that they don't even realize was planted there by a clandestine agent fucking earlier. So they find this tape, and then from that point forward, that's a possibility that guy's gonna come out and defend the story of fucking, I found this tape. I found the first tape of Osama bin Laden. Fucking the one that he wasn't putting out tapes no more. He just started leaving them behind, and we started finding them. Well, I found that first tape. And the first tape where he said death to America and fuck America. And you know what? Yeah, I'm insulted that you would even try and say that the United States was behind that, because I found that fucking tape in a house that he was suspected of staying in.
Why does the guy have to have that type of accent, though?
Because he's about America. He's about America, and he's about defending our fucking country. No, I have no idea, bro.
Well, get this shit. Just 15 days before the 9/11 attacks, a well-connected Saudi family suddenly abandoned their luxury home in Sarasota, Florida, leaving behind jewelry, clothes, opulent furniture, a driveway full of cars, brand new Chrysler PT Cruiser.
Didn't they feel stupid when they fucking a week later they realized that we didn't go into martial law and fucking everybody didn't lose their shit and go nuts, and they left all their shit behind? Like, oh fuck. I thought everybody was gonna go nuts because of that shit. But yeah, you're right, they knew.
There was a startling discovery that at least one family member, quote unquote, trained at the same flight school as some of the 9/11 hijackers in nearby Venice, Florida.
Woo! Is that coincidence? Because in my world, there's no such thing as coincidence, Brian. No such thing. What about your world?
I don't know on this one.
Because that's not a coincidence. Come on, them flying together. And I honestly really kind of believe that they flew together. Like, trained together. I don't know why, but I have this weird feeling that they did. All right, what was the next one?
We're talking about how it was the Saudi sheiks that funded the 9/11
I guess
operation.
that's all I wanted to say about that, dude. I know I've talked about the Saudis before on our particular shows or on a couple of different shows, but I don't know. All I can say on that subject, the only thing I have to say on that subject is, if anybody's truly interested in knowing about 9/11 truth, and that's one area where that's the only area I'll give Michael more credit, because in Fahrenheit 9/11 he does actually touch on the Saudis and how Saudi families were allowed to fly out, you know what I'm saying? But the Saudis aren't really mentioned too much when it comes to all the 9/11 conspiracy theories, and I think they probably should be mentioned, and I think there's maybe a nefarious or sinister reason behind why they're not. So that's all I have to say about that. Is anybody who really wants to really delve into the full 9/11 truth and really learn everything that they can, they think they have. You know, they've looked into Dr. Judy Wood, they've looked into this, they looked into that, but they haven't looked at all really into the Saudis, other than that a couple of the hijackers were Saudi. I would look into the Saudi connection.
Yeah, remember when we had all our bases in the Persian Gulf War in Saudi Arabia?
Honestly, but here's also my thing, why I don't like to comment on Saudi Arabia too much, and this is like part of, I believe, the programming that we're brought up with in this culture, is we don't learn about Saudi Arabia. We're not taught really about Saudi Arabia in school too much. Nobody's like really aware of Saudi Arabia's culture, you know? Like, there's Saudi Arabian people that come here, but they keep to themselves, you know?
I'm aware because I was in first grade the day we officially went to war in the Persian Gulf.
But I'm talking about Saudi Arabia's culture.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, is we're not exposed whatsoever to Saudi Arabia's culture. Therefore, like, I don't know, other than I think if you get caught stealing in Saudi Arabia, you can have your hands chopped off, or one of your hands chopped off, or one of your fingers chopped off.
Remind me never to go there.
Exactly, it's kind of scary.
Because how fucked up would it be to just be walking down the street, dude? What if you're walking down the street minding your own business, and some dickhead just doesn't like you because you're an American? He stole from me.
Yeah, no, I think it's if you're caught stealing from a store, like obviously caught, like you're caught on camera or something stealing, then that's their way of treating it. It is pretty harsh, but also that women have to wear burqas, or like required to wear burqas, and they have literal laws, like how we had segregation back in the day with blacks and whites. They have like that for gender. and
Yeah,
how,
I've heard
how
that.
men have much more power, like kind of how this country was, but even worse. How this
Far
country was
worse.
100 years ago, 150 years ago.
Isn't that
10
one of the
times worse than it
countries
was.
where they're absolutely not allowed to show any skin, including
Yeah,
their
I don't
faces?
believe. Yeah, I don't believe they're allowed to show any skin, and I don't believe they're allowed to go out in public without a man's permission. They're not permitted to work. There's a lot of things they're not allowed to do. Like they're heavily restricted. They're almost treated as like a man's property. You know what I'm saying? They're traded. I believe they're traded. Like how some cultures have like arranged marriages. They have arranged marriages, but like a different kind of arranged marriages where it's almost like the women are products. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you're trying to sell your product, and it's like I think there is literally selling of women and fucking wives and brides and fucking my daughter to be your wife or this or that. It's like it's some weird shit. I don't even know though. Like I'm commenting on all this shit, but that's all like the kind of the rumors or the hearsay that I know of Saudi Arabia. That could all be false for all I know.
Well, a lot of
I don't really
people-
know shit about Saudi Arabia.
A
That's why I don't like to comment
a
on it.
lot of people believe that those 28 redacted pages they won't release mention the Saudi involvement.
Yeah, I've definitely heard that before. And that's what I'm saying. Like, anybody out there who thinks that they've looked into, like, all the 9/11 truth and all the different things that they could look into with it, and they think that they've kind of got a conclusion in their head or this or that, and you haven't looked into the Saudi Arabian connection or the Saudi connection whatsoever, then you might not have the whole truth in your head, you know? But I don't really know. I don't know enough about Saudi Arabia and our actual involvement and connections with Saudi Arabia other than what I've seen in a couple 9/11 documentaries. And I know that if you go to the Saudi Arabian embassy in the United States and you try and film or take pictures or anything like that,
They confiscated immediately.
well, they're immediately there to like question you, and like that's not cool. You know, and our Secret Service, it's our Secret Service that pops up and does it. But you can go to like Finland, you know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
get a Finland's thing and bust out a camera and take all the pictures you want, and somebody might show up after 10 minutes because you've been there for so long, taking so many pictures, or like you're starting to like make fucking whoever's watching on camera a little bit uncomfortable, but
Yeah.
you're out for fucking 30 seconds at Saudi Arabia and you pull out a fucking camera or anything like that, they've got somebody on the way to fucking confiscate your shit, you know what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
like there's definitely some weird shit going on there, but you also think about oil money and oil. And when it comes to our country, we are a oil addicted country, so
That we are.
that's kind of like our pusher, you know what I'm saying? But let's just look at it like this way. If government's big brother or daddy, mommy and daddy, and we're the kids, well, us the citizens are the kids, well, mommy and daddy are addicted to oil, okay? And they come on, we're addicted to oil too, like, you know what I'm saying? We're the
I'm
kids of our
drinking
mom
my
and
oil
dad.
right now. Shout out to
Right?
Yard's Brewery.
But mommy and daddy are addicted to oil, and mommy and daddy have to have an oil pusher. We don't know about that oil. You know what I'm saying? They just give it to us. You know what I'm saying? It's there for us from mommy and daddy. But mommy and daddy have to have a pusher. And if mommy and daddy are hooked on some shit, they usually buffer you from the pusher because they don't want their kid around a dealer or a pusher.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we're buffered from that shit. Well, maybe Saudi Arabia is like our fucking pusher. You know what I'm saying? They don't always supply it to us, but they always hook us up.
I'll throw this
You
out
know
there.
what I'm saying?
You have those
We work with each other.
elite banking families, right? Let's go here with this real quick.
Go there with it, Brian. Go
Okay,
there.
Let's go there.
Let's do it.
I actually didn't pull up much on this, but we're
Mm.
gonna go there.
Mm-hmm.
What was I gonna say? Okay, that you have
You were
these
going
elite
there.
banking families,
Uh-huh.
and a lot of people may or may not know the sheiks and some of the sheiks and sheikhs.
Mm-hmm.
We'll say it correctly. Sheikhs
Mm-hmm.
in Saudi Arabia are
Mhm.
extremely wealthy. Extremely wealthy.
Yeah.
Some of them, what says some of them didn't descend from those elite bloodlines everyone always refers to.
Uh-huh.
You know, so it's very possible that's why they don't want anything filmed.
You said that they do descend from those bloodlines,
I
or
said
they don't?
I said, don't you think it's possible that they do?
Yeah, of course. I
Especially
do.
being in that region where.
Have
the
you? Hold on.
ancient bloodlines
What, I
descend
can't remember what fucking movie it was, but I think it was like Iron Man or some shit like that. It was like an action movie or a superhero movie, right? But where the protagonist or the bad guy, right? He at the end of the movie, you come to find out, right? You think the whole time this bad guy, the head bad guy, is like some sheikh, right? Some Saudi Arabian sheikh, right? And the whole entire time, he's got the big beard, glasses, all that. And you come to find out, I think it's fucking Mission Impossible 3, honestly. It might be.
I have to watch it again.
I don't know. Yeah, you'll know once I tell you if you've seen it. But it's actually the leader of...
You know who was in it?
I can't remember really anything about it. But it was like the leader of this like fucking intelligence agency that faked his own death. And like even before he faked his death, he was still portraying this Saudi sheikh or whatever, but faked his own death and fully became the Saudi sheikh and grew out his beard and like really became the fucking Saudi sheikh. And right when they would do surveillance on this guy, he looked like a Saudi sheikh until they actually caught him and took off his big sunglasses and his turban or whatever. And once they took all that off, they're like, holy shit, this is just the leader of our intelligence agency. Like, this is the guy we used to work for. Like, what the fuck? And
that's very similar.
But he
to
was
the
just a
A-Team.
white dude.
That's what happened.
That is the
A
A-Team. Okay, so that is the A-Team. You're right. It is the A-Team. I love that movie.
It was the general of the.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying exactly. So, but he was just a white dude who had a little bit of a tan, had been out in the desert for a while.
Yeah.
So, do you not think maybe some of those elite bloodlines or maybe some of these bloodlines that we think people died in, and the bloodlines are no longer exist? Maybe they do still exist, and they're in Saudi Arabia just with big beards and glasses on, and running fucking like literally empires. They have an empire right now. There's a Saudi Arabian empire right now.
Of course there is.
When they just when the one Saudi prince just died or whatever, we flew the flag at half staff at the fucking White House or at the Capitol or some shit for the fucking Saudi prince. Like, wait, what? We don't do that for any other country. We wouldn't do that. Maybe Britain. What? What are you laughing at?
What you're saying?
Isn't that crazy? So, I don't know. I want to stop talking about Saudi Arabia before we end up beheaded one day. We end up waking up all of a sudden, like, you ever seen Tom Green's movie? And he wakes up he fucking takes his dad to the desert, but he hooks his dad up and, like, puts his dad in a medically induced coma for, like, a week so he can get him to the desert, and, like, literally detached his dad's bedroom off the house and transported it to, like, Afghanistan or Pakistan or some shit. And his dad woke up in his bedroom and thought that he was in his bedroom, even though there was fucking, like, desert light coming in instead of his fucking regular sunny light from the fucking suburbs and shit. Fucking, his dad got up, like, went to the bathroom, which was, like, part of the bedroom, so it was still attached. Tried to turn on the water, it wouldn't work, and then went to, like, walk out to the rest of the house and, like, opened up his fucking bedroom door, and it was just, like, the desert and shit.
Yeah.
Like, if we don't stop talking about Saudi Arabia, we're gonna fucking wake up one day, whether it's in our fucking house that's been fucking transported to the desert, or just us that's been transported to the desert, but we're gonna wake up one day with fucking a blindfold on or some shit, and it's gonna be fucking sandstorm around us, like, oh fuck, why did we say all that? So, Saudi Arabia, we love you. America loves you. America and its citizens love you. Thank you for the oil, and thank you for the political and money donations and contributions. You guys are the best. You can't see, I'm not on video. I have thumbs up right now. I'm trying to be as...
And he has a big patriotic smile on his face. It's really funny.
Saudi Arabia, we love you.
Well,
but you know what? I've also never known a Saudi Arabian person. So I can't really... I can't say... I'd like to say that they're nice people, but I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Some of them maybe.
But from my experience, they're Muslim, correct? From my experience, every Muslim person that I know, 99% of the Muslim people that I've ever known, 99 out of 100, have been some of the nicest people I've known. Much nicer than American people, I'll tell you that. And I'm not saying American people are Muslim, because they're American too, but I'm talking about, like, American, hey buddy, how you doing? That guy, I'd rather talk to a Muslim. I know it sounds like a lot of people will be like, fuck you, man, you're like anti-American or something. No, it's just...
Why do you always use, like, a redneck accent?
Because, man, that's my American accent. I'm proud to be an American. Well, at least I know I'm free.
At least you didn't go Hulk Hogan on me.
And there ain't no doubt I love this land.
Well,
God
I'm
bless
sure...
USA.
I'm sure there's a lot of people sitting there saying, Wow, they jumped all over the place with this one. What the hell?
We did, but you know what?
So if you're confused and you want to put it all
packed it in
together and see how it pieced together, you need to just go on fucking YouTube after you watch this and look up Bill Cooper predicted 9/11.
Yes. Are we done with Saudis? Or did you want to touch on the FBI covers up the Saudi connections in this country?
Go for it.
I don't want to touch on that. I want to be done with the Saudis.
That's what I'm saying.
That's all you want
to
say.
That's why I'm
we
moving
can
on.
throw that out there.
Yeah.
That the FBI has.
The FBI helped
actively
cover it up.
Cover up some connections between Saudi Arabia and our political system and Saudi Arabia's involvement in 9/11. All right. So, Bill Cooper, you say? William Cooper? The same guy who wrote Behold a Pale Horse.
Right
I'd
behind
pull it
you.
out, but there's no video, so we'll just pretend I'm looking at it right now. This is crazy. Oh my God, the beginning of this book, Brian, it's got this thing called Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars. This is the craziest thing I've ever read in my life. I need to tell everybody out there to go read Behold a Pale Horse. The first, 10, 20 pages of the book will blow your fucking mind, but then the rest of the book is like, oh my God, it's one of the best books I've ever read. But the beginning of the book is literally going to make your brain, doop. It's going to, literally pop a circuit in people's brain.
And there's a lot of stuff in there that if you've never heard it before, it'll be kind of scary at first.
It's a little bit religious, you know what I'll say? I'll say that because I'm not a religious person. It's got a little bit of a religious context to it, but not overly religious, you know what I'm saying? And you got to understand the writer was a religious guy. And you have to understand that. It doesn't mean he's not speaking truth. You know, he's speaking his truth, and his truth is pretty close to truth. Other than his religious views for myself, I don't see the guy lying to me, so I'm happy with what he's putting out.
Here's why I tell people, you can Google it, you can go to YouTube and look it up. Bill Cooper predicted 9/11.
Yep.
And just listen to his radio broadcast from, I believe it was June of 2001.
I believe it was, yep.
Where he, let's read this article.
Oh, if anybody's ever heard it, if you haven't heard it, definitely go look for that. It's honestly, it's hilarious because he's
3 months in advance.
He names
hit the
Osama
nail
bin Laden.
right on the head.
He names Osama bin Laden, that they're going to blame it on Osama bin Laden, but he also says what they're going to blame on Osama bin Laden is a terrorist attack, and it's coming and before the end of the year, before the end of summer, I think he said. He's like, whoa, he was on fucking point.
Yeah.
And they blamed it on Osama bin Laden.
Throughout the 1990s, shortwave radio listeners were captivated by an animated voice. That voice belonged to former Naval Intelligence veteran, famous author, and radio broadcaster William Cooper.
Yep.
Cooper would warn us all of things to come in his broadcasts, which aired 5 days a week. Damn, I didn't know it was that frequent.
Yeah.
Before the internet, people had to find different ways to get information out. Because, again, this was the 90s.
Yep.
And then we move on to 2001.
Yep.
On a broadcast June 28th, 2001, Bill Cooper would make the prediction that 9/11 would happen and Osama bin Laden would be blamed. Following the tragic events on 9/11/01, Bill's broadcast went on to explain the federal government's foreknowledge and compliance of that fateful day.
Yep. That's what's crazy. He literally almost, believe it or not, he kind of started the 9/11 truth movement. You know? Really think about it. Did he not?
I would say he did.
He's definitely a founding father of the 9/11 truth movement. That's for sure.
I know, and then the police and the feds were harassing him and harassing him and harassing him.
I don't even really want to get into that, if you can maybe avoid getting into the whole the harassment and the way that he died. If anybody's interested in seeing some fucked up shit, definitely look into the situation surrounding Bill Cooper's death and everything that happened and the things that happened in the previous year or so before that.
He did, on the air, predict 9/11 3.5 months in advance.
Yeah. You know what? Of all the conspiracy, I don't say nuts because he definitely wasn't a nut. Of all the conspiracy personalities out there that I've come across, dead or alive, he was probably more than anybody else the most honest person he came across. Maybe he was the best actor in the world, but I didn't get that impression. I got the impression that he was the most honest person in like conspiracy shit or putting information out there. You know, he hated. He would give his opinion. That's what I liked. He was honest, and he would give his opinion. He called Alex Jones a jackass. Like that rolls through my mind fucking every time I think of Bill Cooper. Is that he called Alex Jones a jackass, and you know what? He was right. Because Alex Jones was a jackass at the time. And you know what, Brian? You pressed on it, and pressed on it, and pressed on it, and pressed on it, and I kept on just blowing it off in my mind, and I still haven't really looked into it. But the more and more I watch anything with Alex Jones, I'm seeing a 10, 15, 20, maybe even 30 years older Bill Hicks. I'm serious.
Ain't it scary?
I watched him freaking out on the BBC program. I watched some YouTube video yesterday or the day before of him freaking out on some BBC program about, I can't remember what the fuck it was. Oh, what the fuck was it? I don't know. He was fucking freaking out about something. He was freaking out about everything. He was being such a fucking. He was like literally just going on a fucking rampage. And like at the end of each mini rampage, he would fucking be like, Infowars.com! But he was like screaming and yelling. And fucking the host was like, ladies and gentlemen, the worst guest I've ever had on my entire span of my show. It was like hilarious. He's like, screw you, buddy! 1770! He's doing the 1776 shit again. It was like, oh my god, I can't believe. You've never seen a video of him freaking out on BBC? Oh my god, but I was like, holy shit.
I still love the
like,
Pierce Morgan video. I love
this.
This
is fucking, what's his name? That's what I was thinking to myself. I was like, oh, this is Bill Hicks. And this is how he's getting his kicks. He's still a comedian. He still wants to make people laugh. And I looked over at my girlfriend, and she's not even really paying attention. She's on her tablet and shit, but she's hearing it. And she's cracking the fuck up. She's like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Yo, what the fuck is he doing? Because the guy's like, the host kept on telling him to shut up because like it was Alex Jones and then some other guy who's not like a conspiracy guy, and they're talking and supposed to like one person talks, gives their fucking side of things, and then listens to the other person talk. Well, Alex Jones would talk, give his side of things, say Infowars.com, and the other guy would start talking, and Alex Jones would start interrupting him, right? And the host would be like, Alex, shut up. Alex, shut up. Alex, shut up. Please, shut up. Right? And when he would say that, Alex Jones would be like, don't tell me to shut up! Don't tell me to shut up! You know what's going on right here! Right? But he would like, he would wait a second, so it's not like immediately. So he'd be told to shut up, and then he'd interrupt the guy again with something, and then stop, and then be told to shut up again. He'd be like, you know what? No! I'm not here to shut up! Blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, this is just comedy. My girlfriend's cracking up. I'm pretty entertained by it. I'm like, this is just fucking comedy. And it's like, is the whole fucking point of it. And it's really sad to think that Bill Hicks would be involved in that or would be brainwashed to do some shit like that or whatever. But it's like, is how the political system's becoming kind of a joke in comedy.
What's crazy is if you look up some of Bill Hicks' old performances, they kind of resemble Alex Jones' rants.
Just that voice. It's like, I don't...
And the kind of shit he talks
about. But that's not the voice Bill Hicks had. That's the only thing that ever fucks me up now. Is I can see it. I can see it now. Visually, I can see it. But as far as the voice goes, Bill Hicks didn't. Bill Hicks had a very. Bill Hicks was like my voice. You know what I'm saying? Not as he could have. He was able to be just as loud as me, but he had a much more like a I don't want to say I have a calm voice, but like a even toned voice, you know what I'm saying? He had a very even tone. He didn't have like very a hard accent one way or another. He just had an English accent, you know what I'm saying? Not an English British accent. I just mean a regular American English accent like me or you would talk, you know what I'm saying? Even though we got a little bit of a Jersey accent. He was like neutral, didn't really have much of an accent one way or another. It was just an American accent, right? Well, the accent he has now, like, I don't know if I would be able to really keep that up. If that's Bill Hicks,
congratulations.
No,
Bill.
bravo,
great performance.
Because that's fucking amazing to keep that up for that long of a time and be recorded for that many hours. He's probably been recorded for literally what a year's worth of hours.
Like what, 3 to 4 hours a day.
Okay, so probably like 5 years worth of hours.
9/11, he ran like a 9-hour show.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, altogether, he's probably been recorded like 5 years worth of hours. I'm talking about altogether, jammed together, all those hours.
No, he's been doing his show for 18 years.
I'm not talking about how long he's been doing his show. I'm talking about if you take each hour and you start incrementing them up. Okay. Each hour he's been recording, you start incrementing them up. Eventually, you'll hit a week's worth of fucking shit that he's recorded, a week fucking block where you could listen to that whole thing for a week straight and hear his voice for a week straight. Well, I guarantee you there's probably at least like 5 years of his voice recorded that you could listen to for 5 years straight, and it's all like from beginning to end of the shit he's recorded. There's 5 years, and to go 5 years without fucking slipping back into Bill Hicks' voice, that's some skill right there. Unless he's fucking talked in it so long, which I've always kind of believed, and maybe that's what he fucking ended up doing, and that's why it's like he's just so natural with it now and is able to say anything and keep that fucking accent. Because like if you tried to talk British, if you've ever tried to talk British, Brian, right, and you find that you're pretty good at it, you find that you're able to get the accent kind of down, all right? If you're able to get the accent down, the longer and longer you talk like that, you have one or two choices to make.
You sound Australian.
Exactly. See, I'm not good at a British accent, right? But when I do my American accent, all right, I'll talk like Alex Jones right now for you, Brian. All right? When I do my American accent, I can do my American accent all day long. But eventually I hit a point where I have to choose. Am I going to go back to my regular voice, or am I going to move on with this new American voice? Because if I'm going to move on with this new American voice, I'm committing. I'm committing to not going back to the other voice, but once in a fucking blue moon, Brian. So am I going to stick with the American accent, or am I going to go with my regular, normal, calm voice? I think I'm going to stick with this American accent, call myself Alex Jones, and go out there and get everybody worked up about conspiracies, Brian.
Hey, Alex, what do you think about 9/11?
9/11 was an inside job. I'll tell you what, let's not talk about Saudi Arabia. Let's talk about the fucking Bushes and Michael Moore and how he's such a slacker. All right? I don't know. I don't really have much to say on it. All right? The tariffs came down. Where were you? I know where I was. I was predicting it a week before. Bill Cooper tried to say he predicted it first. No, he didn't. I did. I predicted it before him. I said it. I promise you. Look at the tapes. I've got the documents to prove it. I like kind of was going into Ernest mode a little bit.
That was funny though.
Ernest goes to.
I figured we had to lighten the mood a bit.
Ernest goes to political college, or what is it now? Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Ernest goes to a talk show.
Yeah, so we hit a lot of different things, and Bill Cooper hit them about 3 months in advance.
Yeah, I honestly really wish Bill Cooper was still around, and it makes me sad when I think of Bill Cooper. I think of how he died and the whole situation around how he died, and that is I think the one thing that holds me back when it comes to activism. Because if you really truly want to tell the full truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, right? If you want to tell the public that, and you want to share that publicly in a public forum, any sort of a public forum, be it a podcast or going on talk shows or whatever, even writing a book and advertising that book and trying to market that book, but even though it has tough truths in it that a lot of people don't want put out there, when you see what happened to Bill Cooper, it really concerns you to know that that literally somebody can decide that they want you dead and to like fuck with you until you kind of walk yourself into fuck with you until you agree to assisted suicide or suicide by cop. You know what I'm saying? Or suicide by agent or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And it's like that's scary to know that you can be almost entrapped into that situation. And once you're in that situation, you have no hope. There's no contacting the ACLU. Like, you're fucked. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're long time, you went to school with the president and nobody really knows that shit and you don't really share that with people, but you save that in your back pocket just in case, and all of a sudden these motherfuckers are out to kill you and you realize that shit, and you call the president and say, yo, listen, I don't know if you can do anything about this, but these dudes are trying to kill me. I know you haven't heard from me in a while, but I thought we were cool. We were good friends in school and shit. You know, is there any way you can help me out? Then you might have a chance of them getting fucking called off. But unless you got somebody in a high place that fucking might be able to help you out, you're fucked when you're fucking entrapped in that shit. Unless you're gonna shut the fuck up and go into fucking hermit mode and fucking not have any fucking, not even really be seen in public and shit. You fucking, or just move away, change your identity, all that kind of shit. You do that kind of shit, maybe they'll be cool with you as long as you don't keep on fucking putting shit out. But if you want to still live your normal life and keep putting shit out and they fucking entrapped you in that shit, you're fucked. They're going to fucking find a way to fucking kill you. And that's sad to know that can happen to people. And it's sad to know that it can happen to honest people like Bill Cooper. It's almost like the more honest you are, the closer you are to being entrapped in some shit like that.
Being one of those people.
Yep. Yep, and that's really sad, dude. That's a kind of a fact in this world.
I'm going to throw this out there. Just real quick, it's that season. Here's your 30-second distraction from Brian for the day.
All right.
Again, trying to lighten the mood because we may have offended a lot of our viewers.
You can't lighten the mood on a show like today, but hey, go ahead and try, Brian. Go ahead and try.
Well, your Philadelphia Eagles do not play until Monday night.
But they're not my Philadelphia Eagles. Stop saying that, but okay, go ahead.
But right now, I have to give a shout out to the Carolina Panthers as we're filming on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. It is about 10 after 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Mm-hmm.
And in the third quarter, see, I can't do the American voice. It don't work for me.
Yes, you can!
9 minutes to go in the third quarter. Carolina 17, Jacksonville 9. Go Panthers.
Fucking Panthers.
We had an
Football.
interception return for a
You and your
touchdown.
foosball, Brian. You and your foosball.
I love my team.
Oh, it's alright.
Everyone needs a
Oh,
distraction. I spend more
yeah.
time looking at real shit than this shit.
I
So.
don't know, man. I'm coming to this realization, alright? It's this realization, and it's like freeing. It's like the chains, the bonds of Maya come fucking free. And it becomes almost the reality becomes like a stormy sea sometimes to get through, because fucking even though the bonds of Maya are free, all of a sudden you have to deal with reality knowing that it's not real, if you know what I'm saying, or it's subjective. Reality is subjective to this body, but also you come to the realization, and it's been hard for me over the years, and it's easy to forget because you're in your brain, but your brain is not you. Your body machine here is not you. All right? But when you
True.
think about your brain, okay? Your brain can be equated down to, we don't have the brain figured out yet, but we can see emotions fire off in the brain. We can see we can see a lot of different shit fire off in the brain. You know, a lot of our experiences are affected by the brain. People who have severe brain damage or lose parts of their brain can lose functionality and perception.
True.
Okay? And not just perception as far as what they see or what they can lose perception as far as their emotions. If you know about Phineas Gage and how Phineas Gage Phineas Gage got impaled through the face or through his skull by a stake or an iron stake or some shit like that.
Ugh.
Well, he survived, okay? But afterwards, he was the nicest guy before it, right? Everybody knew him as Phineas Gage, the real nice guy. Afterwards, he was a complete and total asshole. He fucking became a fucking drunk. He fucking drank. He never drank beforehand. Became a drunk and turned into a complete and total fucking asshole, right? Now, if you knew Phineas Gage before that, you might say, well, Phineas Gage is like, the soul of Phineas Gage is a really nice guy. You know what I'm saying? The heart of Phineas Gage is a really nice guy. Well, after his brain injury, you wouldn't say that same thing. But the soul never changed. The same energy powering him remained there. You know what I'm saying? His energy that powered him didn't change. His brain changed. And therefore you find that a lot of traits of your personality that you think are really you, you'll remember them when you move on from here, when you move on from this fucking physical world or this place.
While you're here, you
But-
know.
No, what I'm saying is while you're here, you feel that it's real. You feel that that's you. But you come to realize as soon as you're moved on from this place that that's not you. That all that shit kind of stays back with this. It's like you can remember it. Some of it imprints on your soul a little bit as almost like a memory. But you realize very quickly that that wasn't you. You know what I'm saying? That's a photo album in your luggage. Once you leave here, all your personality, all your thoughts, how you thought about things, your biases, your judgments, this and that, all that you might think is coming from more of a deeper place or from like more of inside of you and not being created by your brain, but it really is just created by your brain. And you can take those memories from your brain and take them with you when you leave this place, but you come to realize that those memories and those thoughts, they were not actually you. You is actually a whole nother ethereal thing, which I believe is much closer to God. But that's some like 3NN type of shit, you know what I'm saying? So, I don't know.
So, that's a lot Nick just mentioned about your brain.
Yeah, I don't know why I got all into that, Brian. I don't even know what that has to do with 9/11, but I guess it was a nice way
as
to
we
wrap
say
it up.
frequently, there's a battle on for your brain, so let your brain evolve. So there you go. There's
well, that
some
lets you
brain
know
talk.
that the people think that this is them, and when they die, they're going to go on and this and that, and it's like,
And if
you're not
that
going to go
caught
on
your
in this
attention,
incarnation, so evolve your brain while
now
you're here.
if you're one of those people that just listened to this entire show and that's the first thing that caught your attention and really made you stop and think,
3NN's
check
your
out
show.
3NN. That's
3NN's your show.
Go check that show out.
Check it out. We got quite a show. I'm breaking it to Brian now on brainstorming, even though usually we film in the opposite order. We're not having a 3NN this week. I'm sorry, folks. I'm so sorry. Please don't be mad. So, but we are going to have a nice extra. I don't want to say extra long like today's for brainstorming, but we're going to have a nice extra long 3NN next week. Mr. Colazzo will be joining us, or the boy Rich, as he likes to call himself, will be joining us next week. So it's going to be a great show. We got a lot of different, pretty crazy topics to get into. I'm really excited about the Mandela effect. I can't wait to talk about that. But I know we do have a boatload of other ones. If I can pull them up real quick, we'll see. And Rich is going to be adding some this week, so it's definitely going to be good. So definitely everybody,
jam-packed show.
Yeah, everybody check out 3NN. So this week we don't have a 3NN, but we do have an extra long brainstorming. So if you want to split up brainstorming, maybe watch an hour of it or listen to an hour of it, and then save another at the next hour for the next night or later on or something. Hey, that's cool because.
Because by the time you hear this, you'll have already heard the whole thing anyway.
The content of this episode makes up for the lack of a 3NN this week. I can promise you that. And this also tells, if you're listening, the boy Rich, all right? I'm sure you're probably not listening, but if you are listening to boy Rich, that's why you need to be here for some shows, you know what I'm saying? You got to be here for the show, because how can we do the show 3 non-nerds without our third non-nerd, you know what I'm saying? So, anyway, it should be a great show next week. Don't forget to check out all of the shows on youtube.com/wherewelied2. We're going to be starting a new campaign for both shows, Brainstorming and 3NN, a new Where We Lied To campaign pretty soon.
New campaign?
A new campaign to get some new ears on board. You know, we might even be going live soon, so definitely keep up with wherewelied2.com, or wherewelied2.com will be back soon. Sorry, you can't go see that yet, but wherewelied2.com will be up soon. Give me about a month on that one. And youtube.com/wherewelied2, facebook.com/wherewelied2, facebook.com/brainstorming podcast.
Like, share, subscribe.
Yes, please like this video. Please share this video. Please share this video. I'll say that again for anybody who didn't quite hear me the first time. No. And definitely subscribe. Thank you for all the new subscribers. You guys have been great. I'm actually thinking about each week on maybe either Brainstorming or 3NN, thanking the new subscribers for the week and giving them a shout out and asking them if there's anything that they'd like to see us touch on. You know, I'm very thankful for all the new. I think we're both very thankful. Even Rich for not being here. Rich is very thankful for the new subscribers that we got, and we really appreciate it.
And please don't be like some people we know who tell us what they want us to touch on and don't realize that we had already touched on it.
Yeah.
On
If you're
the
gonna
previous week's episode.
No. This is kind of a requirement for the show. Hey, you don't have to do it. We're not telling you what to do, but I don't know how much we're going to respond if you don't. Try, and if you're going to comment on the show or the topics of the show, at least listen to a little bit of it first, and maybe jump around and get an idea of how we treated it and how we approached it before you just comment on what you think we said, because that's just a little asinine. So anyway, I don't know. I think this was an amazing show. Let's hope that me and Brian are not dead by this time next week. Hopefully we can get in a few more shows before they put the kibosh on us. The kibosh. Nah, that ain't gonna happen. Like I said, so we'll go right back to our disclaimer before we wrap it up. Everything we discussed today, just because you heard it coming out of our mouths, does not mean that we fully endorse it or fully believe those theories. And we are all about America and the American mission of spreading democracy around the world. Please do not kill us. Nah, I don't know.
Go UN!
Let's just
Go
say, hey,
UN!
we like to spread. We like to share information with people, and information that is interesting. And you know what? This will go down, maybe could go down as just another one of the 9/11, what do you call it, discussions out there on the internet. That's all it's going to go out there as, you know. But it's really sad that we got to sit here and think by sharing just not common, but information that is out there and freely available. By sharing that information, we got to feel like we could be in danger. That's kind of sad, you know what I'm saying? And that's a systemic problem in our society, where when it comes to something that could be an actual conspiracy, many people are just like, you know what, not going to touch on that because I don't want to be killed. And it's like that there's something wrong in a society when you get to the point where people don't want to expose wrongdoing because they don't want to be killed. You know what I'm saying? Wrongdoing by the people that are supposed to be exposing the wrongdoing. You know what I'm saying?
Here's a thought for you. There's a battle on for your brain. So think about this one. Isn't that kind of like a mafia?
What? Yeah, come on. It's called the government mafia, man.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to anybody listening.
Yeah.
That's similar to how a mafia family in old school New York City back in the day would operate.
I don't know which one I feel more uncomfortable after doing. I don't know if I feel more uncomfortable after doing this one or more uncomfortable after doing the South Jersey Justice episode, where we didn't really trash New Jersey police officers. I actually tried to give them the respect where respect was due. But we also read some things that really, and pointed people in the direction of some things that really could open up people's eyes as far as how the local New Jersey police system works, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know which one I feel more uncomfortable after doing, and more a little bit nervous, because the local one I felt like there was a possibility that one or two local cops may actually see that episode or come across that episode at some point in the next year or so, and if they saw that episode, they'd be kind of looking for me, you know what I'm saying? Not like wanting to knock on my door, but if they see me walking around, they recognize me, they might want to talk to me about it and kind of like, you know what I'm saying, make me a little uncomfortable to know, like, yeah, you need kind of like, that's not shit you should be talking about. That's not your area to talk about. You know what I'm saying? Some weird shit like that. I was kind of scared might happen. That fear has kind of subsided, even though it could still happen. But with this one, I feel like nothing that simple would happen. I'd just, like I said, wake up in Saudi Arabia one day and fucking they got a fucking like 3-foot sword over top of me. Like, oh fuck. All I wanted to do was just film a fucking good podcast.
It'd be like instantaneous. It's like, shit, I know which episode this is about.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, but no, I said I loved you. So, I don't know, Brian. It's been a great episode. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Everybody out there, pray for us. If you're religious, pray for us. And hey, what do we got? 2 weeks, man. 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, the world's supposed to end.
2 weeks, man.
CERN's gonna kill us, and an asteroid's gonna hit us.
2 weeks.
Jade Helm's gonna kill us, and what else?
That's why next week is perfect.
A bunch of other shit's supposed to kill us.
If anybody wants to watch 3NN next week, it's going. Definitely make sure you check that episode out, because it's going to be. We're going to touch on, maybe not too deeply, but I definitely want to get into it for at least 5 or 10 minutes. At least 10 minutes. Sorry. The Mandela effect, because if something is getting ready to happen on September, at the end of September, we are in September, at the end of September, if something's getting ready to happen, and it's not anything that we are expecting, there's not anything anybody's talking about out there, it could be something to do with time and the human experience. And if you know about the Mandela effect, the human experience is heavily dominated by memory, and the Mandela effect is heavily based on memory and mass misremembering. So on that note, we'll definitely want people to check that out next week, because we're going to get into some crazy shit. We got a lot of other topics to touch on, so it'll be a lot of fun. Like I said, the boy Rich will be here, Brian will be here, I'll be here. We'll be here to
you'll be here,
and what'll Brian be doing? Drinking a beer. So what do you call it? Everybody have a great week. It's going to be a good one next week. Don't forget to check us out. YouTube.com/where we lied to. You can find us. Don't forget, you can email us at where we lied, the number 2, at outlook.com. You can find us, me and Brian and Rich, all on Facebook. So, on that note, everybody have a great week. I think it's been a lot of fun. Brian's tearing into his Pop-Tarts over there. I cannot blame him. Pop-Tarts are the shit. That's the one thing that never really changes taste from when you're a kid to you're an adult. The Pop-Tarts always taste just as fucking good. Sorry. Toaster strudel still tastes just as good as it did when I was a kid. But a lot of other things, the flavor kind of feels like it changes. Not like they make it different.
The chocolate fudge ones seem a little chocolatier, if that's a word.
Yeah.
Is that how you say it?
Yeah, I don't know. But it's. I don't think they've changed how they make them, or not that much. I think it's... Obviously, they haven't changed them that much, but they still kind of taste the same. But I think it's something else about Pop-Tarts. I don't know. Why am I getting into that at the end of the show? I don't know. Everybody have a great week, and we will see you next one. Longest brainstorming ever, but the best one ever as well.
See ya.
Peace in the Middle East. I guess this is only...
Especially Saudi Arabia. We love you.
Yes. Peace in the Middle East, especially Saudi Arabia.
And Israel. We love you, too.
Yeah. We love Israel. Brainstorming!